Tonight's program is going to be a teaching moment. For those of you who are unaware, a former video vixen, Gloria Velez, has now decided we're going to jump on the train of filing accusations against people for alleged behavior from decades ago. And we all know how this starts, but more importantly, we all know how this ends. And that's why I want to talk about tonight's program here. It might upset some of you here, but I meant what I said. A bunch of females today are trying to see if they can cash in and get them a hoe pension. They are trying to hustle their way up on a hoe pension. They didn't make the smartest moves they could have in their 20s. They were gambling that they were going to be able to parlay their blatant sexuality into a lifetime of leisure. Didn't work out that way. They bet on all the wrong horses, or they fumbled the ball repeatedly. And now they are trying to fight their way into getting a mulligan. So after Diddy, you then start seeing them digging through the crates. And when you hear the name Aaron Hall, then you know folks are digging deep. So let's talk about the person in question here. First of all, for those of you who are unaware, Gloria Velez is one of these, she was one of these white girls who made her way around black men in the rap industry back in the 90s. She made her way in around there. She knew the spots. She knew the places to go. And she was looking to get on. She was looking to get picked up. And that's exactly what occurred. She knew that a lot of these fellas here, they kind of had a taste for something different. They wanted something exotic, call it what you will. She's 44 years old now. And as a result, you got some folks here trying to figure out how they can get themselves a hoe pension. They're trying to figure out how they can make that work because, you see, if you were hanging out around Luther Campbell back in the 90s, let's be very, very clear. There's only one thing you could be there for. There's only one thing you could be there for. And that's it. Now, I am going to deal with some of the accusations here. Oh, don't worry. The 720 degrees of analysis you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. And I'm going to address that. Now, what has happened here, I'm going to show you on your screens. I'm going to show you on your screens here what they're referring to there, because there are she put up some posts and said some things, and I wanted to juxtaposition that. Before I do, I want to play something else here. Something I think is relevant in this regard. DJ Vlad, of course. DJ Vlad is trying to capitalize on all of this as only a blatant, venomous culture vulture can or would. So, Gloria had a thing they had done here. And she did an interview with Cisco some time back about comments that Aaron Hall had made about her in particular, about how they met each other. And that came up a number of different times, and Vlad really beat on that. I mean, he was really determined to get all the details from all the principals about how Aaron Hall met Gloria Velez. And I knew then, well, this'll be trouble. And it sure was. Now, of course, we have to be careful because, of course, Vlad is somebody to be careful about here. So what I'm going to do is just show you the still images, not the actual video. But you just saw a frame from the actual video. If you want to go look it up for yourselves, you can. And this is what her and Cisco talked about.
I didn't know that was your baby mama, but the reason why we laughing about that, because apparently something went viral. Would you like to share?
Oh my God. Okay, so as you know on Vlad TV, Vlad gets people flustered, and he flustered my son's father, and my son's father said a few things that were not so pleasant about me.
Oh.
But this is 8 years ago, so it just recently went viral.
Where my pearls at? She was standing up with
Okay. Let me check something here. All right, because I'm not really sure that's correct.
A Jamaican rapper named...
There he goes. All right, let me go ahead and back this up a little bit because I want you all to hear the audio here well. I had the audio rerouted, but I want you all to hear what he said.
Oh my God. Okay, so as you know on Vlad TV, Vlad gets people flustered and he flustered my son's father, and my son's father said a few things that were not so pleasant about me.
Oh,
But this is 8 years ago, so it just recently went viral.
where my pearls at?
She was standing up with a Jamaican rapper named Mad Lion.
Okay, I know who that is.
Big Pun, Fat Joe, Method Man, like whoever you speak to, just ask them how I did it. I got out the limo, grabbed her hand, and went upstairs and fucked her. When I saw her, she was dancing with Luke and them. I didn't know she was a puppy, you know what I mean?
That's right.
She was tall, she was big, blonde hair, bone with the black pant leather. I was like, I'm getting that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows I couldn't even really speak then. I had a speech impediment. I don't stutter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there and just grabbed her hand and went inside the hotel and gave it to her. My mother was Puerto Rican, from Ponce. So when I see anybody that's Spanish, I'ma grab them.
Okay.
I ain't gonna ask if you holding the hand all loose and you holding a conversation with a nigga.
Preach.
I'm gonna take your bitch. She chose up already. Now she wanna go renegade? Go renegade, bitch.
So I want to say this in response to that we're in a better place now. He apologized to me and my son. He's great to my son, and now we have a grandchild, and he's a great grandfather. So
Aaron was in trouble right there. There are levels to this, and I want to take you all through the levels of it here first. Now, for some of you brothers out there, you come from the East Coast, and your lineage doesn't truly go to the soil here in North America. For those of us we don't come from immigrant backgrounds. No, this is relevant. This is relevant. For those of us who do not come from immigrant backgrounds, for those of us who don't have that, we have a connection and an understanding that some of you think you see yourselves as part of other cultures, and then you find out you're not. And this is a hell of a way to find out that you are not part of that. Now, everyone's going to focus on when he says she was a pup. I'm going to come back to that, believe me. But let me be very, very clear about this. Let me go ahead and play one more time the more relevant part, in my opinion.
When I saw her, she was dancing with Luke and them. I didn't know she was a puppy, you know what I mean?
That's right.
She was tall, she was big, blonde hair, bone with the black pant leather. I was like, I'm getting that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows I couldn't even really speak then. I had a speech impediment. I don't stutter anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went there and just grabbed her hand and went inside the hotel and gave it to her. My mother was Puerto Rican, from Ponce. So when I see anybody that's Spanish, I'ma grab them. My mother was Puerto Rican, from Ponce. So when I see anybody that's Spanish, I'ma grab them.
One more time.
My mother was Puerto Rican, from Ponce. So when I see anybody that's Spanish, I'ma grab them.
My mother is Puerto Rican. I didn't know that, but okay. Aaron Hall said his mother is Puerto Rican. And what I'm telling you is he just sat there. So anytime I see someone who's Spanish, I'm gonna grab them. The brother was confused. The brother was confused, and his lineage confused him. His lineage confused him. Luther Campbell, another one, as we know. They come from an immigrant background, and many of them are horribly confused, telling themselves that they've got some sort of camaraderie, some sort of connection, And then what they're finding out is that years later, decades later, if there is an opportunity to cash out on you, some of these folks that you've been telling yourself that you got camaraderie with because you both come from immigrant backgrounds, you're not like those American Negroes, the descendants of the slaves, the individuals who come from the foundation of this country. We're not like them. We are different. We're not like them. We don't see race. So you see, we're not like them. We don't see race like that. We're different. At least that's your version of the story. Now you're finding out that they've been laying in wait now, not for years, but for decades. They've been waiting for their opportunity. They've been waiting. They've been waiting. And this is a hell of a way for you to find out that you don't have that camaraderie that you told yourself that you did. You're talking as if you are some universal citizen, that you're just a man on planet Earth. And you're about to find out, you're not just a man. You're not just a man. Now, what I want to do here is I want to go back and I want to revisit what Gloria herself said here. Let's revisit this. First of all, when Cisco brought this up, now let's be aware. She heard the clip. She knows what she's going to say this year. She knows what she's going to say. Did she bring that up as an issue? That's what I'm asking you all right now. You heard what she said. By the way, when Cisco brings up about your child's father had some things to say about you years ago, when she mentioned it, do you notice she didn't bring up anything about her age when she addressed this here? Did you get that?
Vlad gets people flustered and he flustered my son's father, and my son's father said a few things that were not so pleasant about me.
Oh,
But this is 8 years ago, so it just recently went viral.
where my pearls at?
It went viral because Vlad kept at it. That's why. So after she heard what Aaron, after they played in there what Aaron said, here's what she says.
Bitch.
So I want to say this in response to that we're in a better place now.
Okay, well, her response was, well, we're in a better place now. We're in a better place now. That was what she said. But then she says something that should let Aaron know that, by the way, if she ever gets a chance to come at you, she is holding on and sitting on a lot of hostility towards you. And if she ever gets a chance to come at you, she will. Listen to what she says right after she says we're in a better place. Listen to what she says right after that.
So I want to say this in response to that we're in a better place now. He apologized to me and my son. He's great to my son, and now we have a grandchild, and he's a great grandfather.
He apologized to me and my son. Me and my son. Don't you? Excuse me? If he's your child's father, how the hell is this your son? So you notice she made a point to keep saying that over and over and over again. He apologized to me and my son, and he's been good to my son. So she been waiting to do this for a minute. She's been waiting to come at your neck now for years, decades. She been waiting for this. She was waiting for the day that she would eventually be able to come at you with claws bared and fur flying. And this is not minor, dude. She's trying to fire a kill shot now. She's like, yeah, you might be 59 years old, but let me see if I can get you to hold this sentence. That's where it is now. That's where it is now. That's the point I want to make to you here, is that when she was asked about this, she didn't say anything about age. She didn't bring that up as an issue. Do you all think it slipped her mind? Do you all think maybe she wasn't aware? Do you all think she didn't get it? I mean, do you think that maybe she forgot? Do you think that maybe that's what happened, is she just kind of blanked out? I don't think so. I think she's been waiting to see where she could get the best deal and eventually realize, well, maybe this is my opportunity to cash out, so let me go ahead and start laying the bricks down. From the Jasmine brand here, you can see on your screen, and what I'm going to show you is some of the screen captures that they had on there. Now, they're talking about, I haven't seen anything where she named Aaron by name, but this is what she said. If you don't think grooming is happening in this business, you're sadly mistaken. It started 1994 with Luke and a few others in this business. I was in high school. South Florida, 1993 to 94, teen clubs where the pedophilia men scouted and groomed. It was their playground. I look like a baby. Now, first of all, she wasn't just hanging at the teeny bopper clubs. Let's be clear about that. She wasn't just doing that. This chick was out hanging with these dudes. And I have one question I want to ask here, and I'm going to leave it up on the screen. When you want to talk about grooming, I got one question to ask here of Miss Velez. And I'm just curious, where was your mother? Where was your father? Where was your family? Where are your guardians? Was there anybody who was watching you? Where are the people who are supposed to be watching for you, Miss Velez? Where were your parents? That you were at a club where, according to you, okay, fine, I will take your statements at face value. According to you, this was a club that grown men were sitting there scoping out. Understood. Got it. Where the hell were your parents? Where was your mother and your father in South Florida? Now I got to go there. Jason, are you sure you want to do this? Are you certain you want to do it like this? Oh, absolutely. Let's be clear. For those of you who have not traveled this country or have not seen a whole lot of things here, just let me get. I've seen it. I've been to the 3 major hotspots. Oh, I'm going to go there. Folks, if you've been to New York City, Southern Florida, California, let me tell you, they got a whole culture. I'm going to say it, in Hispanic culture. That's a thing. That is a thing. All of you who live in Los Angeles, you've seen it your whole lives. All of you who live in Miami, you've seen it your whole lives. All of you who live in Fort Lauderdale, you've seen it your whole lives. Hell, all the way up to Orlando, you've seen it your whole lives. New York City, the Bronx, Queens, Spanish Harlem, you've seen it your whole lives. I'm talking about for those of you who live there. You know that that's the thing. How in the hell is it that you got these illegal aliens who've been flooding the country under the Biden administration now for the last couple of years? Why do you think it is that they make their way to New York City and the first thing they start doing is prostituting. They didn't become prostitutes in New York. They are prostitutes where they come from, and they coming up here to get a bigger bag. And it is condoned as part of the culture. They got whole websites where these dudes are pimping these chicks out. And yes, I will say it, one of their particular delicacies are underage girls. If I'm telling the truth tonight, hit me with the green check mark emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 2,400 people in here live in just the first 20 minutes. But if I'm telling the truth about New York, Florida, California, those three in particular, they're not the only ones, but they're the worst ones. They're not the only ones, but they're the worst ones. If I'm telling the truth tonight, give me the green check mark emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. Unless I'm offending your tender sensibilities. But for those of you who live in New York City, you've seen that your entire lives. You know that that's a thing. The blatant sexualization of these underage girls. They don't have to go looking for the spot to find men. They get taken to the spot where the men are in the hopes that one of these well-to-do dudes is going to get her pregnant, get her married, or both. That's what they do back in the home country. I said it. And that's what they do here. I didn't say what they did. I said what they do here. Those of you in California, particularly Los Angeles, but not just Los Angeles, San Diego, San Mateo, San Francisco. I know San Francisco's way further north, but Southern California, Southern Florida, you starting to see a pattern? That is the thing. That is the culture. 12-year-old third of illegal aliens across the country, underage girls wearing skin-tight jeans, high shorts, and the whole damn 9 yards. Where you at? In Georgia, in Kentucky, in Missouri, in Kansas. You're seeing that now in your places. Here in Louisiana, you're seeing it here. Not just somewhere else. You're seeing it here. You're seeing it here. There's nothing wrong on my end. You two may be having an issue. Y'all need to refresh your screens. Do not say that there's an issue on my end. There's no issue here. It's YouTube. Either that or your Commodore 64. In any case, I've told you how to fix it. Stop. Don't spam the chat with your technical issues. Moving right along. Those of you in Southern California, you have seen that for years. You have seen that for years. And Gloria Velez is not telling this part of the story. I am in no way condoning anybody messing with underage girls in any way, shape, form, fashion, or manner. But let's be very, very clear. If Gloria Velez has a grudge, her grudge is with her mother and her father, first and foremost. It's with them first and foremost. First and foremost. That's what it is. That's where the issue comes from. Period. That's where the issue comes from. And they know it. The whole game was about seeing if you could do this, what you're seeing right now. Because the bottom line is she was out there for a minute. She was out there for a minute. That's not accidental. She been out there for a minute and she was waiting for the ship to come in. She got pregnant early. Her folks put her up to that. Her folks put her up to that. And she's not mentioning them. So if you were available to be groomed, where was your father? Where was your mother while you was roaming them streets? But she's not saying that. There is a lesson here to be learned, and yes, I will say this, there is a lesson here to be learned by the black men of the last 30, 40, 50 years. Oh, I'm going there. Who've been waiting for their opportunity to have unfettered, unrestricted interracial sexual acts, unlimited interracial sexual access. Yeah, we know what you've been doing. What? You've been sitting back for a while here. You've been feeling the breeze. That's the real reason for going to those strip clubs, because, yeah, you all want to be voluptuaries and live a hedonistic life. Okay, I just thought you ought to know the bill just came due. The bill just came due. Them little old young broads that you all told yourselves were so enamored with you, those little old young gals of every persuasion, black, white, otherwise, any of them who thinks they can finger you for something illegal, they all popping up now. They're all slithering out of their holes after all these decades. What they did back in their 20s or younger, they weren't saying anything about it before. Now they see an opportunity to say something about it and to get you. It wasn't bothering them before, but they thought Gloria Velez is 44 years old now, folks. Gloria is 44 years old. 44. Gloria been waiting for that meal ticket to come through for a minute. She been waiting for that meal ticket to come through for a minute. And she sat up here at a young age. She was running around with rappers. She was with Luke. She was with Ice-T. She's running around with a bunch of dudes. And she gets pregnant by Aaron Hall. This was at the height of Guy's popularity. And her and her people, let's just say the truth, Gloria, you and your folks at the house was like, hey, our ship doesn't come in. Our ship has come in. Our ship has come in. That's what they were looking for here. That's what they were looking for. We gonna get our chance. We finally got it, because that's the way it works where they come from. That's the way that happens. And I'm gonna say it directly. They know that when they jump in a room full of black folk with their Spanish last name or their Asian last name, when they jump in a room full of black folk like that, they know that the black folk tend to hold them up as deities. You can be an average white Latina, but if you white, you get graded on a curve, and they know this. So she was a little white Latina chick who hung out with niggas. I said it. I said it. In particular, in the chat room, Jasmine, you need to look at your screen, ma'am. I know you have some issues tonight being able to decipher the difference. You think Hispanic is a race. I know you think Hispanic is a race, ma'am. You got a lot of catching up to do. No, those not black men on the screen. So, yeah, therapy for the daddy issues. We might page Dr. Phil. Just saying, ma'am. Nobody knows how much you don't know until you jump up and tell them. Pro tip. Pro tip. These chicks from the damn 90s been waiting for a while. You see, the money train was supposed to come through. She figured somewhere along the line over the course of the last 30 years, something was supposed to pop. She figures something was supposed to happen. One of these dudes that once she was on the inside, she would be the special gal because she wasn't afraid to touch black men. She was going to be the special gal, and all these dudes were going to, at one of them going to let her get on. I know she's looking at Ice-T's wife, Coco, today like, damn, I missed that one. That's the one I should have been chasing. I missed it. And what I'm saying is that they've been waiting for decades now. Cassie been waiting for decades now. Corinne Steffen's been waiting for decades now. We can go down the list. If you all want to know what happened to all them washed up video vixens and all of those no talent one-hit wonder groupies who had their one-hit wonder songs from 1998 to today, or definitely to 2015. If you want to know what happened to them, now you know. That was it. You could get them to do any sexual trick or sexual act under the sun if you dangled a record contract in front of their faces. And they understood that. All you had to do was dangle a record contract in front of their faces, and they would do whatever. And if you didn't offer them a record contract, just tell them that they get to be your chick. Or in the case of Cassie, you can be both. You can be both. And that's what you're seeing now, is that after all these years, there really ain't a whole pension plan. There isn't a whole pension plan. The radio, okay, folks, what happened is folks like Angie Martinez. What? I said it. Folks like Angie Martinez. Y'all know them. The Angie Martinezes, the Angela Yees. Angie, well, why does Gucci Mane keep having the goods? Don't get mad at me, Angie. And stop getting mad at Charlemagne. Why is it that Gucci got your number? You need to quit being upset with us. Why does Gucci got your number? Y'all got to understand that some of these chicks here back in the day, you see, when Gloria used to be the non-black chick who these magazines and these rappers and these parties used to bring around because, oh, she the down white girl. Well, she's not Anglo-Saxon, so can she get a pass for that? And yes, you all can see her tattoo over there on the right. I'm probably going to get in all kinds of trouble here tonight, but by the way, you can see her tattoo over there on the right. But fellas, y'all remember King Magazine, Vibe Magazine? That's where they used to do that testing of the waters of these non-black women that they were bringing into the rap scene, that they were smuggling into the rap world. Those were the places where they would test it out. King Magazine, Vibe Magazine, and the others. But King and Vibe were at the top of the list. And this is where they used to bring them in. This is where they used to test them out. So next thing you know, some Latina chick you never seen before, never heard before, next thing you know, she's on the cover of something. Next thing you know, there she is. And what I'm telling you is that this was Gloria Velez back then. So it's going to be kind of hard for her to make some of the arguments she's making. And what she's saying is that, okay, being a sex symbol didn't quite work out the way she was looking for. Because here's the thing. Back then, they were looking to get on with a rapper to hopefully get married. So he would do all the work and she can just sit at home being fat and lazy. That tends to be their little fantasy. Or you could get hired at a radio station. For those of you in those large radio markets, New York, LA, Miami, Dallas, Atlanta, but particularly New York, LA, those are the big hot spots there for these morning shows with used to hire former rappers or former video vixens, maybe could have been co-hosts or whatever. And that's what a lot of them were hoping would happen. Angie Martinez was willing to knife fight your ass over her slot. So Angie stuck around so damn long that she made sure that these young broads couldn't breathe. Did you say broads? Damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Angie Martinez hung around for so long, trying to hold on to her spot. I think she had a baby by Cisco. So do you see what I mean? All of them had the same damn game plan. Go to work at the radio station. If you meet a rapper, you better throw them thighs around one of them and get him locked down, either with a ring or with a baby. You ain't gonna get a ring. Go ahead and get the baby, and at least you can get child support for the next 20 damn years. So you can't guarantee that you'll be working for the radio station for 20 years, but you can guarantee that you can extract child support out this Negro for the next 20 years. At least you can do that. So that'll tide you over until you come up with a better idea. Okay, but the bottom line is they were never able to pivot to a new life preserver. They were never able to pivot to a new life preserver. They were never able to do that. In the chat room, whoever she got the kid by, it was one of them niggas. All them fellas were sitting up there. Every time you come through there, whether it's G Unit or whatever, they're always bragging about having kids by some Latina. They're always bragging about that. Fellas, hey, y'all little dumb niggas, the bill's coming due. The bill is coming due. The bill is coming due now. A bunch of them were hanging out and waiting. They were waiting for their chance, and it didn't happen. The fellas who they got kids by, they were hot for a minute, but then the industry changed. Then the internet opened up. Now you can no longer force albums down people's throats. Radio airplay is no longer the guaranteed influence that it once was. They can't do that anymore. So that doesn't work anymore. It used to be if you had a baby by one of these rappers, you was good for a minute. But once the industry changed, once radio lost its end, once MTV no longer played music, once the industry dried up with the big money, once that was it, all you would now is a washed up rapper and you hoping you can get him to go on tour. You're hoping that you can badger him to go on tour because now he's not going to get the easy money anymore. That's when all these chicks started moving over. They don't chase the rappers anymore now, except the little young dumb ones. And that's only if they get 3 or 4 hit albums. Now they move over to the sports world. And I'm talking about these chicks today. I mean, like Cam Newton. Do you all understand Cam Newton has exposed how absolutely disgustingly nasty this era of females are? When you got chicks who know he got babies by a bunch of other chicks and you trying is be first in line to have the next one, they're not worried about STDs, scabies, or nothing else. So they were all waiting for their ship to come in. They were all waiting for that to happen. They were all waiting to get their turn because that used to be the hustle back then. The hustle back then used to be get you an athlete, and then, boy, they went crazy when it's, oh, now we can get athletes or rappers. I mean, it was just like, it's going to be so easy. It's going to be so easy. And now it's not easy anymore. Not anymore, it's not. So what happened to all them young gals from the 90s and the early 2000s who were betting the farm that if they could get in bed with a rapper or an athlete, but particularly a rapper, if they could get in bed with one, that was it. They were set for life. What happened to them? Now you know what happened. They've aged out. They've aged out. They've aged out. That's it. There isn't gonna be another Aaron Hall for Gloria Velez. Baby, you bet the farm on Aaron. Cassie, there ain't gonna be another P. Diddy. You bet the farm on Alex Fine. Whatever you were doing with Diddy or weren't doing or whatever, maybe you aged out. Baby, it's not going to be another one. That's why you sitting up here threatening folks with lawsuits, because you know there's not going to be another one. That's it. And if you can't get a radio station to pick you up, if you can't get somebody who's already well-to-do to pick you up, and now you done got kids, man, look here, that's it. Your ride is over. Your ticket to ride is over. All of these aged out granny baddies realize that the phone has stopped ringing. Realize that the younger chicks, you know, the ones who were their age when they first started coming out, the young chicks are here to take your spot with no mercy. The young broads are here to take your spot with no mercy. And let's be very, very clear. The Gloria Velez's and the Vita Guerras and the Melissa Fords and we can go on and on. They had it so damn easy because if they could beat out the rest of their competition through the rope line at the clubs in New York, Miami, or LA, and somebody could get them on, then they had an easy ticket because the only competition were the females who could show up for an audition for a music video shoot. Well, if you didn't live in New York or LA, guess what? You weren't eligible. Today, man, today the market is wide open. Folks talk about the sexual marketplace in relation to men, but have you all considered the sexual marketplace in relation to employment? Because in the OnlyFans era, you don't have to pay chicks anymore to be in these videos. In the OnlyFans era, you can have the baddest chicks on Instagram. You got the whole world is available on Instagram now. So the Gloria Velez's of today, they're not just fighting the other 20, 30 chicks who showed up for the audition. They've got to fight 2 or 3 million females floating around OnlyFans, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, you name it. Literally, it is you against the rest of the world now. And any men that you would be hoping would make you their preferred choice for a video shoot or anything else, that's it. He's got access to all of them now. And his feed is bombarded with them. It's absolutely bombarded with them. So, baby, it's very easy to forget you exist. Very easy. Very easy. You don't have that option. So what I'm saying is that if you didn't play your cards right in the previous 20, 30 years, if you didn't play your cards right, a bunch of these chicks have gone cutthroat. And they said, I'll be damned. If I'm going to lose, we all going to lose. Jason, are you going to do it? I'm not trying to beat him up here, folks, but I just want you to be aware. Let me be very, very clear here. I want to play this again because it might have sounded innocuous to you all before. Listen to what Gloria is saying, and I think it's going to hit you different now.
Renegade, go renegade, bitch.
So I want to say this in response to that we're in a better place now. He apologized to me and my son. He's great to my son, and now we have a grandchild, and he's a great grandfather.
One more time.
So I want to say this in response to that we're in a better place now. He apologized to me and my son. He's great to my son, and now we have a grandchild, and he's a great grandfather.
He's great to my son, and he's a great grandfather. But Gloria, doesn't that also make you a great, as in wonderful, grandmother? Oh, y'all thought that I was being mean-spirited when I said that before about Granny Baddies. But by the way, while you trying to talk about Aaron Hall being a grandfather, by the way, Gloria, doesn't that mean that now you're an excellent grandmother now? Isn't that what it means, ma'am? You don't want to claim your grandmother status? Yeah, it's kind of hard to flex that sex appeal when you got to say, by the way, I'm going to go see the grandkids this weekend. What? Yeah, now that we put it in that context, makes a little more sense now, doesn't it?
Alrighty then.
It's kind of hard to flex that sex appeal when you got to tell folks that you're a grandmother. It's kind of hard to sit up here and throw elbows up against some of these young chicks coming up today. It's hard to do that when she's fresh out of college and you are literally going to go see your grandkids. You're literally talking to men about your grandkids. And what I'm saying is, do you all understand that that's where she is in life right now? Now, when we say it like that, that's where she is in life. She is trying to get the reward she was supposed to be telling herself she's supposed to get the whole time. And when you have a lull that hits like that, baby, you trying to jump up in 2023 and cash out on the rewards and the benefits that you didn't get before, or that you tell yourself you were supposed to get. This is where we're at today. She knows that hits real funny. If you got to tell people I am an excellent grandmother. She knows that hits funny today. She knows that's not flattering. She knows that you can go show all the throwback pictures you want to. You can hit the gym as much as you want to. When you say you grandma material, and then that's going to smack different. That's going to smack different. I'm telling you all, a bunch of them out here today, they are looking for an escape plan. They are looking for an escape hatch. Jason, how do you know you just saying things now? You all know full well I don't bring receipts. I bring invoices. I don't just tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. This is Gloria Velez's. Well, you get the idea. Her Instagram. She's repping Puerto Rico. All right. Is that from the Pimp C video? All right. You go down through here and whatnot. All right, Gloria Velez been hanging out. Tyson Foods is recalling. Boy, she on some real grandma stuff, ain't she? High levels of lead in applesauce. All right. Thought that was all very interesting. Folks, I'm just saying, she's talking about recalls and applesauce. All right. Best modern medicine. Got it. Okay. I'm just telling you, this is what the young grandmamas do, I guess. All right. She's concerned about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Got it. Talking about Denzel. Understood. World War III. Certainly hope not. The air is toxic. All right. Sugar in the baby's brain is called ADHD. She's still trying to flex her sexuality with these incredibly filtered. Okay, folks, let's be clear about something here. When the filters are turned up so high that it smears out your skin, that you literally have to take all the detail out of your skin. You've turned the filters up so high. The filters are turned up so incredibly high. And the only guys who are going to leave likes on this are the bottom of the barrel dudes who don't mind sitting up here touching themselves to made up pictures. You're not even doing it to a woman anymore. It's a made up picture. Around her eyes, you can see the computer algorithm. It's so bad that it basically is blurring your skin. It has to blur your skin from head to toe. And I'm saying, if you have to turn the filters up that high, it might be time to just take up crocheting. Might be time to drop the sex symbol thing. Or, it's just like, hey, get that OnlyFans so you can do like Joe Smith's wife. Get that OnlyFans so at least maybe you can hook on to a dude who can pay to get, the laser dermabrasion. But I'm just saying, if you have to turn it up this high, there's a problem if you got to do that. If this is how far you got to go with it, not good. I'm just saying we need to do better than that. This picture here is... All right. Folks are going to say I'm being mean. So she is still... Only reason I'm showing this on YouTube is going to get me in trouble. September 20th. By the way, building a sexy, strong back. Let's love every part of our body. Yeah, let's love the filters. She got the filters on so strong. Did you see that it's blurring her tattoo? It's blurring the tattoo. She's got the filter on so strong, it's blurring the tattoo. But by the way, this is not Gloria Velez from 30 years ago. This is Gloria Velez from 30 days ago. 30 days ago. Well, Jason, why does that matter? This, that, and the other. You know what? You're probably right. It probably doesn't really matter that much. It's probably not very coherent and probably doesn't really matter in the greater scheme of things. So, yeah, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. The greater scheme of things.
Learned about the Lord is my shepherd. I learned it in a storm. I learned it in a fight. I learned it in a crisis. I learned it when the odds were against me. I learned it while they were talking about me like a dog. I learned it while they were rolling their eyes. I learned it while they were blogging about me. I learned it while they were lying on me. Who am I preaching to?
Are you preaching to her? I'm just wondering, are you preaching to her? I just found that to be interesting. Is he preaching to her? Just saying. This was her on September 20th. Got it. This was her back on August 8th. But less than a month later, hey, the rent's due. September 6th. The rent's due. The original Slim Thick Fit at 44. At 44, you tell me what she's selling. To the young females out there, this picture right here, I know it's very easy to tell yourself that you're going to express yourself. I know it's very tempting because when men are emotionally disturbed, they hurt other people. And when women are emotionally disturbed, they hurt themselves. But when you get all tatted up, let's just understand something here. Leave your body alone. Go to the gym, eat a healthy diet. Great. All this scarification, marking yourself up because you want to express your trauma on your skin. Leave that mess alone. It doesn't turn out well because it can't turn out well. all you're doing is expressing your anxieties and neuroses. It can't turn out well. Leave your body alone. It's not going to take long before it's a bad look and you'll be stuck with it the rest of your days. But by the way, just a little over a month later, 1 minute TD Jakes, the next minute the rent's due. I'm just saying, is she gonna blame this on Luther Campbell and Aaron Hall? It's still their fault today? Is an issue today? I don't understand. What's she trying to say? I'm gonna say one more thing. This guy here talking about the game in XXL magazine. All right. I'm going to say one more thing. Gloria, 3,000 likes. I've got 3,000 people in here now. I didn't have to know Luther Campbell or Aaron Hall. I just couldn't help but notice. I think somebody trying to get their numbers up. I'm not going to hate you for trying to get your numbers up, ma'am. But what I am going to say here is, yeah, I think what's also at work is, can we get that THOT pension going? Can we get that going? But it's even deadlier and more dangerous because I want the fellas to think about this for a few moments. Gloria Velez went all in. She has no choice in the matter. Gloria Velez and all these other chicks who were turning tricks, turning backflips, getting flip-flopped, oiled down. 5 or 6 dudes walk in the room, or she went to 5 or 6 rooms in a night. All these chicks who were doing this mess and still do it today, but I'm talking about the old ones. All the old ones who done aged out, you all got to understand that they bet all their chips that they were smarter than the game was. They bet all their chips that they were going to be able to capitalize on it. What are they going to do now if they fail to be able to do that? I'm telling you what they're doing. What they're saying is, well, damn it, if I'm going to lose, then we're all going to lose. What? That's what they're saying now. Okay, even if I can't get a dime out of you, even if I can't relive my 20s, even if I can't redeem that time, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to take you down with me. You going down with me. If I got to live out here as a has-been, if I got to see my opportunities evaporated, and I have to live with the memories of all them things I did, I'm not going to take responsibility and say that was my choice. I'm going to say you coerced me into that. I can't say that you forced me to do it, but I'm going to say you coerced me into that and see if we can make that illegal. I'm going to see if I can dirty up your name. I'm going to see if I can get the world to turn against you. How dare you sit up here and be called a legend, an icon? How dare you do that? And I'm sitting out here trying to see if I can get somebody to pay me some attention on Instagram, while you sitting up here living that life. You are getting fame and respect even to this day. You've got a second act across the board. How dare you do that? And I'm just sitting out here getting whatever I get. You think you're going to walk away scot-free? Oh, hell no. I am going to demonize you. Now that I've got an opportunity to do it, here I'm coming. That's why Cassie jumped up. That's why I had to decipher her lawsuit for all of you to show you all what the problems were. I was hearing even Spencer Cornelia talking about the lawsuit and mischaracterized what it said. That's why I had to tell you all that if I didn't sit here and read the exact wording of that lawsuit, then when you read in the lawsuit or hear people say that Diddy was the one who first gave her drugs, it's like, no, that's not what it said. It said that she first tried opiates with P. Diddy on that night. But the key word is with him. It didn't say that it was the first time that she ever tried drugs. It didn't say that. They said it was the first time that she had tried those type of drugs with him. So all these other folk, if they misread it and they don't show you the actual text of it, or if nobody stops you and says, wait a minute, that's not what that sentence actually says. Let's clarify what that sentence is actually saying. If nobody does that, you won't know. And these folks ain't gonna tell you. So Gloria Velez, and those of you who come from these entertainment cities, you see this all the damn time. You go through the malls, you see some chick who used to sit up here and lay up under some ball player. She was the third or fourth broad. Now she's bitter. Now she's bitter. Come on now. Darlene Ortiz has been talking about Ice-T now for 3 damn decades without pause. She's a grandmother now too, and she's been talking about Ice-T now ever since the Power album, ever since New Jack City. She ain't backed off in a minute. And she's not the only one. Jada Pinkett. If she hadn't gotten with Will Smith, she would be running Tupac down today. She wouldn't be talking nice about Tupac. If she hadn't gotten with Will, she'd be talking about Tupac like a dog. What's happening here today is these chicks are using gutter hoe tactics. If it doesn't work out, then what they do is they go back to their mental and emotional Rolodex. They go try to look, if they can't get a high value man, they go see if they can go find the last high value man that they had any proximity to. And then they say, you know what? If you're not going to give me what I want, then I will legally rape you in the court system and take what I want. But I ain't gonna accept this low living I'm doing while you're sitting up here coasting. That's where it's at today. And the idea is that now, and this is why I want the fellas to listen, because I'm bringing this 720 degrees to you. There are a bunch of you dudes listening to me right now, and I talked about this before, but let me remind you, there's a bunch of you right now. You are young men or you're coming of age. And you might not be a millionaire right now, but in the next 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, there's a number of you who are listening to me that you will be. And I want you to understand that there's a bunch of old hoes that you used to talk to back in the day. And she thought that you were going to be her meal ticket. She thought that she was entitled to your productivity. And she's perfectly fine pretending like she's okay letting you go so long as your life never gets any better. But if your life becomes exponentially better than it was when she met you, man, you better watch out. Because you may have concentrated all of your mental and emotional energies toward forgetting her. But I assure you, if you pop up one day, if she sees your name one day in lights, if she sees your name one day next to 7, 8 figures, oh, she's gonna remember. Trust and believe me, you may be fighting to forget. I assure you, she will remember. If her life doesn't go the way she wanted to, if she sat up here and bet on the wrong damn horse or didn't take seriously that sound, if she didn't take that sound seriously, Or if she looked around and she jumped ship and then she hopped on with somebody else and realized, I'll be damned, I traded in 1,000,000 for 1,000. Now I'm stuck with this 1,000. I traded in 1,000,000 for that 1,000. Let me tell you, she's not going to let that go, my dude. Oh, she's going to remember that. All you fellas who live in these major cities, y'all see dudes in the industry, in the sports industry, entertainment industry. Man, look here. If you get on, every chick you ever been with, understand there is one. You had a bad breakup with at least one of them. A super scandalous one. She's going like, oh, you going to pay me? I'll be damned if I'm going to work for the next 30 years at Best Buy. You going to pay me? Remember, fellas, I have to remind you here, you do understand, I don't do this stuff to be salacious. I do this to remind you of something. You do understand, I've taught you all, a woman feels that you owe her. No. You literally owe her. If simply on account of the fact, if she been opening her legs to you, you owe her. That, oh no, it's not a mutually beneficial thing. If she been throwing them legs open to you, you owe her. So if you want to know how it is that she can tell herself that, wait a minute, how you going to sit up here and go into a court of law and lie about something, trying to grab some money out of me? She's literally, oh, you owe me for that. Owe you for what? On account of the fact that you were sleeping with me for 3, 5, 10 years. You owe me. How you figure that? Well, because all you did was sleep with me and you didn't give me anything of value. We were giving each other something of value. No. All you're doing is just going around laying on top of people, but you're not making a commitment and you're just leaving there with nothing. So you owe me simply on account of the fact that I was laying up with you as long as I was. You owe me. I'm owed that. So you see, I'm not abusing the court system. You owe me. You owe me. Fellas, don't you understand that that is literally the philosophy that is at work today? Is that, yeah, going into court and lying on you, accusing you of something heinous in order to milk you for resources. That's legit because, well, you owe me. What do y'all think all them chicks went after Bill Cosby are doing? They took a look at where their lives ended up at after 40 years, and they took a look at where his life ended up after 40 years, and they said the 3 most dangerous words that a man can hear from an entitled female that he has left behind. It's not fair. Of course it's fair. It is fair. It is just. She made her decisions. What she really means is that it's unfortunate that she chose the wrong horse. Well, she's like, well, don't worry. They give me a second pass at you. All I got to do is be willing to lie. Folks, don't you understand something? When a woman been sitting around her whole damn life and she been shriveling up and she got to take a look at herself in the mirror and she realizes there will not be another crack at bat. That cute young thing that could get men to fall at her feet, that's gone. The magic wand is gone. You're no longer that young nubile goddess that you were back then. The magic wand is gone. And if you bet on the wrong horse, if you waited too damn long, if you gave your fate into the hands of all the wrong people, then you will not get another chance. That was it. That was your chance. It's over. Now, if a woman been sitting around for 5 decades, if a woman has been sitting around for 5 decades, think about this for a few moments. Let me put Bill Cosby in context for you all. Those chicks been sitting around for damn me 5 decades. They've gotten older. I mean, we're not talking about, just a little baby fat or just a couple of crow's feet. I mean, they got arthritis. They got health conditions. They got consumer debt that is decades old. They are the pathetic. Those are the folks who sit up here and vote for the Democrats because they hoping that somebody help subsidize their prescription medications. No, I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm not being facetious. Take a look at that cover of the New Yorker when they showed all those women on there. Was it the New Yorker or Time? Showing all those women on there. All of those chicks right there, you've seen them before at political parties and every damn thing else. They've been waiting for a bailout. They need a bailout. Do you all really think that Bill Cosby was the only celebrity that those chicks were laying up with back when they were young and nubile and could get the attention of 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 ball players or athletes or television personalities? Do you really think that Bill Cosby was the only celebrity that those chicks laid up with? What? You really think he was the only one? He was the only one they could pin it on. He wasn't the only one. This is the way the game goes. This is why you always hear these kind of things about Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, every athlete you know, unless they're just super guarded. Now, 5 decades later, they were never able to get another bite at the apple, another ride on the rodeo. They got their aches and their pains. There's not a push-up bra on earth that's going to be able to get that thing back into shape. They're 60 or 70 years old and they look 80 or 90 years old. The ride is over. And all they can see is Bill Cosby today. A man who is respected in most quarters, became a legend, and all they can think about is it's not fair that he got to sit up here and ride me around the block for a year. And then he moved on and his life continued to get better and I'm living in a damn slum. It ain't fair. It ain't right. I got bills and debts and this fella is still stacking up young things if he wants one. And they're thinking it's not fair. I got a head full of gray hair. I gotta wear reading glasses. I gotta take a thyroid and blood pressure medication. My arthritis and my gout is acting up. I've had to have knee surgery. The osteoporosis. They're giving me more medications for that. I'm serious, folks. I'm serious. When a woman is looking at her life after 5 decades, she's going to ask herself one question. Was it fair? And she's not going to put the blame at her feet. If she has the ability to blame you, she's going to put it at yours. She's going to put it at yours. Because she has the ability to. She's going to justify it by saying, well, you had so much sexual access. When you really think about it, because you didn't give me what I wanted, that's really rape when you think about it. That's literally what they're saying now. Most of you males here listening today, you've been hearing chicks say that to you before, that if you didn't marry her or whatever, that's really like raping me. Now they're literally getting lawyers to say that's what it is. That if you don't want to marry her or make a commitment to her, well, do you feel like it was consensual? I mean, we know it was consensual, but are you happy with the sex acts you did? Well, of course I'm not. He left me. Well, she was fine doing it for a damn decade. Cassie was perfectly fine getting flip-flopped all over damn me America for a decade. She was perfectly fine with it. Rooms full of people, rooms full of dudes. She was perfectly fine doing that for a decade. You don't do something for a decade that you're not comfortable doing, people. Most of y'all can't stay at the same damn job for more than 2 years. You don't sit up here and stick with one man and get all over the damn place doing all this stuff here and you're not perfectly comfortable doing that. You thought that you were making a down payment on a life with him. That's what you thought. And you got married to this white dude and he probably put it in your head, you need to do something about that because he doesn't want to sit here with P. Diddy's thought wear. Let's go see if we can go make this lick right quick. So the fellas out there, I want you to understand that right now, yeah, they're talking about Luther Campbell. I get it. Right now they're talking about Luther, but I want you to understand that this could be you. I want you to understand that this could be you. If somebody gets upset, this is the era that we're in today. Because understand something, I have a bunch of you, listen to me right now, most of you, and I mean my 99.99999%, you're not millionaires, but I have a bunch of you fellas listening to me right now. Oh, you're thousandaires. I have a bunch of fellas listening to me right now. You make $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. Don't you know there's a scummy little broad somewhere that you've been with? That's worth suing you over. That's worth making a claim against you over. That's worth saying something about you over. What? Oh yeah. It's worth it to her. If she was making the calculus that she left you and your life was never going to get any better, and then she looked up one day and saw, I'll be damned, not only did his life get better, it went to a whole new level of existence. Nigga, she coming. Or just understand she can. She can. If she can figure out a way to thread that needle, if you make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year, that puts you in doctor, lawyer, high-level engineer territory. It's worth it to come after you. It sure is. Oh, it's worth it to come after you. It's worth it to come after you. We sure can. Come on now, have you seen child support court? If you've been to family court or child support court, man, look here. Don't you understand? She's like, look, I'll take a third of that damn $300,000. I'll take a third of that. I'll take a third of that. Fellas, understand something. If you make $250,000 a year and some scummy chick sues you for $1 million, you do understand the court's going to order you to pay that because, yeah, we can get that out of you. If a chick want to sue you for $1 million or $2 million, you do understand, yeah, if he makes $250,000 a year, he can swing that. If he makes $250,000 a year, he can swing that. And if he makes more than that, oh, he can damn sure swing it. He can damn sure swing that. Fellas, have you thought about it in those terms? Because there's a bunch of you listening to me right now. You live in New York. You live in L.A. You live in San Fran. You live in San Diego. You live in Atlanta. You live in Miami. Nigga, you already making $300,000, $400,000 a year right now. There's a bunch of fellas listening to me right now. You already make $300,000, $400,000 right now. And you done laid up with some chicks who ain't making a tenth of that. You left her flat on her ass a decade ago. She's not making $50,000. So while you're looking at Luther Campbell and P. Diddy and Aaron Hall and Eric Adams and telling yourself, hey, I ain't got to worry about that, that ain't me. Man, look here. If you are in the top 10% in Tupelo, Mississippi, there's something you done slept with in Tupelo that is asking itself if it can come after you. If you are in the top 10% of men in Chattanooga, there is something from a decade ago in Chattanooga that is asking itself if it's worth it to come after you. If you are in the top 10% of men in Tuscaloosa, there is something from a decade ago in Tuscaloosa that is asking itself if it's worth it to come after you. That's the point I want you fellas to understand. What I'm saying is that there's a hoe in your life who is looking for a hoe pension if she can swing one. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's one in your life that is looking to swing a hoe pension if she can make that pop off. If she can get it, let me tell you right now, she's looking at a mountain of student loans, a rising cost of living, and she is finally accepting the reality that she ain't never gonna get to live the life that she told herself she was entitled to. And fellas, you know the get down today. A chick ain't trying to drive no damn Buick. She trying to drive a Bentley, and I mean literally a Bentley. A Benz isn't enough anymore. It's not enough. To my fellas in New York City, let me tell y'all right now, the game was over as soon as they broke ground on Hudson Yards. The game was over. That's it. Jason, why do you say Hudson Yards? Because we had Billionaires Row before then. Yeah, but Billionaires Row, they didn't have, rent-adjusted apartments there. You had Hudson Yards, which was really constructed for billionaires, and yet the city mandated that they had to have some affordable, a certain percentage of them had to be, quote, affordable housing. So you got hood rats and hoes who's supposed to be staying down there in Bedford-Stuyvesant, and yet they've got a beautiful view of the Hudson River for sunrise. Literally an apartment below a multimillionaire. Literally. And what I'm saying is that's it right there, dude. She is never going to believe again for the rest of her life that she is not supposed to be living a millionaire existence. You're never going to get her to see that again. And that was just the ones who got in. What about the thousands who tried to get in but didn't make it? And we can keep going. That's just on the New York side of it. Now you got all those skinny scrapers overlooking Central Park. So we got views that are supposed to only belong to multi-millionaires and billionaires. And now you got average folk taking a look at it. And you know what they're saying? That's damn nice. That's what they're saying. They're looking at it and saying, damn, this is nice. Yeah, but she doesn't have the whole lifestyle to go with it. The city might have been able to strong arm somebody to letting her in that apartment, but she doesn't have the purse, she doesn't have the furnishing, she doesn't have the car, she doesn't have the clothes. In other words, all she got is the roof over her head. She's not done yet. She wants it all. She wants it all. And that's just one. They're building a bunch of others. Need I remind y'all, every time I go down to Miami, you know me. Just as soon as they finish with the Waldorf Astoria, I'm going to be over there. Just as soon as they get done with that, just so I can see what the view is like. I'm going to tiptoe my way through there. And what I'm saying to you is anybody who has sat there on 2nd Street, anybody who's sat there on Biscayne on a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, man, it's just a parade of G-Wagons, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, Aston Martins, $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 cars all damn afternoon and all damn night. I've been in Miami on New Year's. I've been in Miami on New Year's night when they got to go get all them damn people off the damn bridge. The boats out on the water and the fireworks. I've been there. And what I'm telling you is you don't see nothing but a bunch of females walking the damn streets is what I'm trying to tell you. Bayside and everything else, you see nothing but a bunch of females out there, man. That's who these dudes are doing this for, and that's why they hanging out there. They waiting for their shot. They're in their 20s, but a lot of them in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. They're waiting for their shot. They're not okay with where they're at is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not okay with just pushing a Benz is what I'm trying to tell you. They're not okay with just pushing a Benz. They are not okay with their E-Class that they leasing. They're not okay with that. They want it all. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They want it all. They want the Fendi bag. They want the Prada bag. They want the red bottoms. You can't stick them in an environment where all these other chicks got that. And you know full well these females tell themselves, I'm just as good as she is. She'll be 400 pounds and telling you she's just as good. They want it all. And somebody got to finance it. They want every bit of it and somebody gonna pay for it and it's not gonna be them. Now, what do you do when you're a 55-year-old female standing your ass around in the middle of Brick L? What are you gonna do? When you're 45 years old. 45 years old, and meanwhile, when you hit the strip, you taking a look at your damn competition. And you're like, I'll be damned. These young broads today they coming out the gap ready. You're not ready to rumble with them. You're not ready for what it's going to take to hang with them. Your day is over. What do? You can't push the clock backwards. And you still telling yourself, I should be pushing that Bentley. I should be pushing that Maybach. I should be pushing that Wraith. I should be pushing that Aston Martin. I'm supposed to have that. Fellas, do you understand? For those of you who live in Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, LA, y'all know full damn well these chicks are serious as hell. They are not letting it go. Okay, well, what if you are the single most successful, productive man that she ever came into contact with? And what if she's holding a grudge because she figured you weren't going to go any further and you did? Now what? Does she just get up and trot off into the sunset, lick her wounds, just accept that she made a bunch of stupid decisions, or she made one stupid decision and now that decision is going to mark her for the rest of her days? Does she just go ahead and hold that L, march off into the sunset, wish you well? Fellas, how many of you think they wishing you well? Are you truthfully going to tell me? I want a show of hands in this chat room tonight from the men. Fellas, if there's a man in this chat room who tells me that he's had females who broke up with him, that they broke up with you, and that not a single one of them would be willing to tell a lie on you to get you into trouble. That if somebody approached them and asked them something, and if she knew, well, if I just answer a certain way, I'm not really saying that you did it, but I am throwing suspicion on you. Fellas, if you've not had chicks and you broke up with them and you don't think that they would ever tell a lie on you, give me the prohibited emoji in the chat room, the red circle with the line through it. But fellas, if you broken up with chicks and you like, Jason, I got at least one or two that I know would tell a lie on me, She would lie on me to get some money out of me or to mess me out of some money. Give me the fire emoji in the chat room. Fellas, if you've had chicks break up with you and you say, Jason, none of them would ever lie on me. Give me the prohibited emoji. But fellas, if you've broken up with these chicks and you're like, Jason, I know at least one or two, man, they would lie to screw me over. They would lie on me if they thought it would cost me some money. Even if all they could do was cost me some money, they would lie. They would, if somebody gave them the power and the leverage to do so today, if the IRS came to them, they would give them some funky ass answer that would get them to audit me. If she had the opportunity and the ability and the influence to make that happen, she'd do it. Don't y'all see we got more flames in here than a hot night in hell? Of course they would, especially if you kicking some high figures. It's like, oh, dude, she's like, that's it. That's it, man. I'm coming for you now. Even if all I can do, even if the most I can do is mess you over one time. If I can just do this one time, if that's all I can get and if that's all I can do, I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah, it's kind of pathetic, but if that's the most I can do, if that's the most I can do to get at you, I'm going to get you. Because I had no idea that things were going to go as well for you as they did. I had no idea that things were going to turn out for you like they did. I had no idea that you were going to get the options that you were. I thought you were dead and gone. I thought you were left for dog food. And I'll be damned if that isn't what happened. That's where we are today, fellas. And it is inevitable and inescapable because all of us are getting older, and what that means is that pretty young, sexy thing that you were hanging out with before, dude, she's gotten older too. You have completely disregarded that she's gotten older too, and things may not have gone for her at all the way she told herself it was. She got to deal with life now. Not where she wishes she was, but where she's at. She got to deal with life here. She got to deal with it right where she is. And I want you to understand that looking for a hoe pension, there's a bunch of you fellas right now, you talking about doctors where you live, lawyers where you live. Yeah, he slept with some goofy heifer and now he got to pay child support and this, that, and the other. Dude, don't you know there's a bunch of chicks who are going to try to get you too if they can? They're going to try to get you too if they can. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the program all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. This is the one. We're also going to go ahead and open up the Zoom here as well. Please remember that Zoom does get priority. However, remember, if you're going to use Zoom, the only thing that we ask is make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. So you are allowed to use Zoom, but please make sure that you have your camera and your microphone turned on. Otherwise, we're going to think that you're trolling and we'll have to put you on a permanent vacation. We'll go ahead and throw the link in the chat room here. Tonight, we are talking about the hoe pension. And I know that's kind of hard for a lot of fellas to think about because they tell themselves, why, Jason, that would never be me. How could that possibly be me? I'm going to do all the right things. Here's the problem. If all the right things means being socially and financially successful, you may have done the wrong thing and didn't know it. You might have done the wrong thing and didn't even know it. Let's go ahead and get over here to the telephone lines. Let me get caller from area code 646. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Onan from Queens.
Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
I believe that a lot of the sexual assault allegations that are coming up now, like the ones against P. Diddy and Jamie Foxx and Eric Adams, I think they're actually doing more harm than good because they're taking away from the credibility of actual sexual assault victims. You know, and it's just women who were just opportunists and they're looking to get a bag and they just go about it however they need to. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, what I'm telling you is that is the culture today. And the truth is that most of the females, ladies, I gotta read the mail, most of the females are lockstep with it. Dude, don't you know that even right here in this chat room, ladies, I hate to have to break the news, but let's just call it what it is. Most of the females listening here, they feel like there's at least one man out there who owes them a future. I want fellas to think about that. We live in a society today that tells you that men owe you a future, that you're owed that. And that if he doesn't do that, then you are allowed to take whatever means you need to. Or that you feel like are justified. You can redefine your interaction with him however you want to extract whatever you want to. This is the environment that we're in today. Remember, it used to be that it wasn't sexual assault unless somebody held you down and penetrated you. Now it is, well, were you doing things that you later regretted? Well, did you get really sloppy drunk? Yes, I did. Did you get intoxicated? Yes, I did. Well, when it comes to driving under the influence, you don't get to say, well, I'm not guilty because I was drunk. So you see, I wasn't able to handle the car so well because I was drunk. But you're able to say, oh, if I had sex while I was intoxicated, if I made myself intoxicated and then had sex, I'm not responsible for my actions. So if you go drinking and driving, you're responsible for your actions, at least for now. But if you're a woman and you get drunk and choose to have sex, and if you later regret it, then you get to say, oh, I wasn't in control of my actions. I'm not responsible for my actions. This is where we are today. So obviously the next logical conclusion is, well, hey, if your relationships don't go the way you want to, or if you later regret breaking up with this guy, yeah, you broke up with him, yeah, you divorced him, but if you later regret it, well, hey, you can go back and victimize him. Shout out Samantha Gibson. She divorced Tyrese. She was the one who divorced Tyrese, now admits she shouldn't have done it, and yet she's still in court trying to rape him for as much money as she can, or as he said it, she's trying to turn child support into alimony. This is where we are today.
I think the biggest problem right now, and I'm sorry to interject, but I think the biggest problem with that is that it incentivizes people lying to one another, right? And I think that's detrimental, especially within the Black community, because once you incentivize people within the community lying to each other, you break down the lines of communication. And to me, that's the fastest way that you can get a community to collapse on itself.
Well, you haven't just broken down the lines of communication.
Incentivize people lying.
You haven't just broken down the lines of communication. You've broken down reality itself. You make a very good point,
right.
But here's the issue. Do women today care if other women lie?
No, I don't think so.
So there goes your deterrent.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You have no deterrent if you say, well, if the women are okay, if the ones who have been legitimately victimized don't have a word to say about the ones who are out here just trying to grab a bag, then they're okay with it. So you're more outraged about it than they are.
All right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 786. You're on live with the business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason. Andres here. Third time calling. How are you?
All right, Andreas, what's on your mind, brother?
No, just a couple of things. One, I mean, these chicks, all of these 90s girls, they miss they were born 20, 25 years too early. They miss on the OnlyFans, the sugar baby boat. And, they're trying to, come back and try to get one more back. Obviously, whatever happens with celebrities is basically like a reflection of society. To whoever's out there having some level of success, be careful, get ready. Pretty much every chick that you had an encounter with in the past might come back. And the other thing, regarding the culture, my community, my Hispanic community, with the migrant crisis, I mean, it's the whole thing is a mess. You kind of, and actually, one movement that gets exposed with this is the passport bro movement. The guys that are out there in third world countries talking about these magical creatures, these super girlfriend material women, and all of a sudden the same women they're talking about, they end up in the United States doing prostitution. So I mean, I don't like the whole thing doesn't add up. I mean, what happened with all these cute Venezuelan and Colombian chicks that were, the perfect girlfriends down there that they pick up on the street at 2 a.m. And all of a sudden the same girls end up in New York in a red light district, 16, 17 years old. And that's the other thing, the whole underage thing. I mean, difficult times, but certain people get exposed.
Well, let me ask you about that, Andreas, because that's a thing in particular here. So allegedly, she was in that place when she was 16 years old, somewhere around there. So 16 years old. I don't know if you have any kids, but if your 16-year-old daughter is hanging out at a club at night, whether she snuck into the one with the grown men, which it looks like she did at some point, or whether she allegedly was with, this is a club that the grown men were at, but they frequented. My real thing is, okay, what kind of home training is going on here? Because if your daughter is hanging out there enough that she's got a whole damn notepad full of phone numbers and names, to me, this is a failure of parenting. What do you say?
It's worse than a failure. I mean, I'm going to drop it here. I don't have anything to hide. There's some cultures within the Hispanic culture, some areas of some countries, some areas of Venezuela, some areas of Dominican Republic. I mean, I love Dominican people, man, but, Dominicans, they are, and I know them personally, they are, you can encounter 3 generations of sex workers working at the same time. The girl, the 16, 17-year-old girl, she's already, doing it. The mom is 35, the mom is not going to be 45. And the grandma is 55, still at it, Do not be surprised if the daughter was the daughter entered the business by the mother, not the father. These are all usually whenever the father is absent. We all know what happened when there's no father in the family. We all know what happened. And when there's no father and the culture is just the sex work is part of the culture in the lower classes in Hispanic in Latin countries. I mean, it is what it is. People don't like to say it. There's a misconception. We always hear about, Hispanic culture and the family, but you know what? There's plenty of broken families. There's this misconception that all Hispanic families are very united and solid. That is not true. There's plenty of families without a father, and that's what the girls end up doing. I mean, it's part of the issue. The Dominican Republic, there's a saying, it's a joke. I mean, it rhymes in Spanish, but it reads like in Dominican Republic only does 2 things: batters and hoes. The men are all baseball players. The batter, with the bat, the baseball bat. That's what the men do, and the women are all hoes. And I think there's obviously it's not everybody, but there's a lot of truth to it. And I mean, it's sad to say it. I mean, I'm not here to bring down my culture. But what am I going to do? We're not going to cover the sun with a finger here. I mean, it's for everybody to see in Miami, in all of Florida right now. I mean, it's everywhere. It's almost part of the mainstream already. Like, you can see people, like, you can see them in certain spots. You can see girls that are clearly underage and clearly not, you can sense it. So there's no point in hiding it.
Well, I found that very interesting. Like when Aaron Hall said that, his mother was Puerto Rican, so obviously he's claiming Puerto Rican heritage. Okay, got that. And then Gloria's got a Puerto Rican flag on her Instagram page. Okay, I got that. And what I'm saying is I couldn't help but notice she hadn't had a word to say about that for 30 years. Not a word to say about that age thing for 30 years. It wasn't until Vlad, this was years ago too, by the way. So that's been years and years ago he did that interview with Aaron. She never said anything. It wasn't until Cassie gets the bag from Diddy, and now all of a sudden here we go. And what I'm saying is, wow, if this was such a problem, if there were this many groomers around and doing all this stuff there, she's had 30 years to say something and it wasn't an issue and wasn't a problem. Not a problem. And I'm thinking that when we talk about some of these things here, and I'm hoping Aaron has learned a lesson from this, because you talk about the Dominican Republic, we could be sitting here all damn day naming areas. We can go all through the Caribbean. We could be here, South America, Latin America, and beyond. We could be here for a while doing that. And the point that you made is, when you got 3 generations of sex workers in the family, we're focusing on the wrong damn people. You're focusing on the wrong people if you're looking at the damn entertainers. You're focusing on the wrong damn people. The idea that they are this comfortable offering up their daughters, that is the family business. Now we're going beyond culture. That's the family business. That's a big ass issue. If your daughter is 16 years old and it's 9 o'clock at night and you're not able to look across the room and see her, as far as I'm concerned, that's negligence right there. If it's a Friday night, your daughter is 16 years old, and it's 9 o'clock and you can't look across the room and see her, you are guilty of contributing to the delinquency of minor. At best. At best. Because this has been going on now for literally decades. Literally decades. And the fact that she didn't say anything before now, that tells you just how comfortable apparently where she comes from is with that. Now, 3 decades later, dude, are you kidding me? And this is the nice version of it. This is actually the nice version. I'm going to say this. I'm only going to touch on it briefly, and then I got to get off of it because I'm on YouTube. Folks, how many Gloria Velez's are on Instagram? How many Gloria Velez's are on OnlyFans? How many Gloria Velez's are on Snapchat? How many? Folks, you better watch your damn daughters out here. For some of you who got old hoes in the family, you better watch your damn daughters out here, because your daughter may be sitting up here putting up pictures that are not legal, video that is not legal, because she's going to show you she grown early and you've decided you got better things to do than to keep an eye on her. I'm just telling y'all right now, if Gloria Velez was just one among many from 30 years ago, and you could only get down like that if you went to the club, now that everybody's got a cell phone and access to the world, I'll be damned. It's never been more convenient. And I just got to ask myself, how many Gloria Velez's are there now across? And by the way, let me go ahead and say this. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. I got to throw it up. How old was Darlene Ortiz when she met Ice-T?
What?
I'm not throwing no shade at T now. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is that in those circles there, I'm starting to notice a pattern. That these gals' mothers, and we all know Darlene Ortiz doesn't even call her mom, mom. She calls her mother, Rosie. Do you realize the level of animosity that you have to be harboring towards somebody that you do not refer to your mother as mom, you refer to her as Rosie? She calls her by her first name. All the time, every time. Well, I'm not going to say that Rosie don't deserve it, because by Darlene's testimony, she certainly was not great mother material. That's for damn certain. And I will tell you, if your daughter is 16, 17 years old and knows where all the grown men spots are at, this is an endemic problem. Fellas, that's what you're dealing with. Fellas, that's what you're dealing with. Here's the other issue. Now you're in bigger trouble because you may have not been fooling with Gloria when she was 16, 17 years old. But what if you meet her when she's 25? You got to deal with all this baggage. What if you meet her when she's 28? You got to deal with all this baggage. All of this. Everything she's been doing since the age of whenever. You're meeting her after all that. That's a hell of a spot to be in. I'll let you have the last word.
No, just the last thing I'm going to say, just repeat the same thing I was saying, is the mothers. There's no father on it. It's the fathers always look for maybe the ticket way out for fathers. The few fathers that do it, making the son an athlete, a boxer, but the mother is trying to hook her up with a guy that has money, hopefully getting pregnant. That's it. It's a ticket out. It's a way out, and they get them pregnant. That's 18 years of child support, and the mother living the life that she was having, like staying with the daughter, and they say that's a free house and at least a life of comfort for the next 15, 20 years. It's the mothers. Like, there's no way in hell that a 15-year-old it's out there in clubs the whole night, and the parents don't know. No, but it's the mother. It's not the father.
What you just said reminds me.
Generational thing.
You just reminded me about Vanessa Bryant. Remember, Vanessa Bryant had to sue her own mom. Her husband is dead.
Yeah.
Kobe dead. And Vanessa had to sue her own mom to say, hey, get out my pockets. Mama been in my pockets now for a minute. Hey, Your Honor, get her out my pockets. I'm not supporting this old woman.
He kept her under control. He used to calm her wife down and the mother. He used to level the situation, and he kept the peace. But as soon as he was gone, there you go. He's the moms. We all know it.
If we can use our daughters as a meal ticket for ourselves, I mean, as scary as it is, but hey, just let her go out there and do her thing. See if she can bring home a baller. She can do better than I did. Y'all, look, I can't say what I want to say. I'm going to leave it at that. Andreas, thank you very much for giving us a call here. I'm not going to keep you on the line here. I can't say what I want to say. I can't say it. I don't even want to infer it. But I'm just going to assume that you all may be able to put the pieces together. These folks are not really worried about the damage that they could do to their daughters. Apparently, they're of a mind that, hey, they're old enough and it ain't a big ass issue. I can't say what I really want to say in regard to that, but female society as a whole, ladies, I got to put that at y'all's feet. Female society as a whole, I can say it on Patreon. I can't say it here. I can say it over there. I can't say it here. I might talk about it this weekend, next weekend. Who knows? I might. But what I'm saying here is female society as a whole, when it comes to the daughters, I just couldn't help but notice when it comes to the daughters, folks are real selective. I'll just put it like this. People are real selective about their innocence, depending on if there's a bag to be gotten. I just couldn't help but notice they're real selective about their innocence. Is something that people tend to be selective about. They want to find out what's in it for them and what they can get, and is it the profit center? They get folks get selective. I'm talking about the female culture as a whole today. As a whole. Man, I just couldn't help but notice, man, some of this time y'all acting real damn selective. Like sometimes it really bothers you, and other times it don't bother you at all. Sometimes y'all are real worried about it, but for the women, for the mothers and grandmothers, sometimes y'all real worried, and then other times y'all ain't really worried about it like that. Just saying. Call from area code 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? This is AT by way of Atlanta from Lagos, via Lagos.
AT out of Atlanta, what's on your mind?
Hey, I think you're hitting on something that you know you can't speak on it because of we picking up what you're putting down, brother. Secondly, I think that men have to be super hyper vigilant because I think what we're going to start seeing is some copycat laws in some of these other high profile states like California, Texas, Florida, Georgia. Because Atlanta's a entertainment district, and you're going to see a lot of these copycat laws start to come up in those states as well. And it's very grim for men out here.
Because these laws are being used. Just understand something. These laws are being used to divest men in particular from their money and their resources. For those of you who don't know, like I say, when you go to court and stuff, you get a judgment against you. These folks are getting broke off from that. So this is a way of backdoor separating men from their resources. It's just another way because we're the ones who become the millionaires and billionaires. We're the ones who put in all the hard work to do that. We're the ones who put in the relentless amount of obsessive time to get there. So you don't have enough. You're never going to be able to hit the women are never going to work hard enough to become a millionaire class that you can just sit up here and blanket, exploit all of them. They're not going to let you do that. They're not going to do that kind of work. So the men are the only ones you can do that. So those places that you're naming, it's like, places that have a black male population in these areas where black men have made a niche for themselves, entertainment, sports. You're going to start seeing that. So you're absolutely right. It started in New York. I can foresee California being next. I can foresee them being next. Only it won't be a temporary one. They'll just remove the statute of limitations altogether. And then they'll be targeting black men and let everybody else go. But what you're saying, absolutely. I can see that happening. Absolutely.
And I have to question, like, the majority of the governments are made up by men, so these laws couldn't get pushed through if men weren't pushing these laws through. So
correction.
Where are the men? Like, what?
Correction.
Why?
This is a huge misconception. The majority of government is not run by, quote, men. The majority of government is run by beta males. Let me say it again. Huge misconception out there. The majority of governments are not run by men. They are run by beta males. You see the same phenomenon actually in law enforcement. Law enforcement is not a place where alpha males go. Law enforcement is a place where betas and sigmas go. Guys who've never really been able to get real power or authority, earning it through a meritocracy. But you can go to the police academy and have authority given to you in just a few short months. So you see, where the regular accomplishment curve for men takes years or decades, if you become a police officer, you actually get authority and just bypass all that. Most of you never thought of it that way. Guess what? Politics, same thing. Attributes that betas use for females. As I say here, people, the definitive school of power dynamics, it's time to update your files.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
It's time to update your files. Politicians are betas. The tactics that they use to win office are the same tactics that betas use. Their strategy is the same strategy that betas use to get sex. Betas try to do what? Be liked. Which is why they're always in the friend zone. Because he thinks that if a female likes me and if I'm her friend, well, that's a stepping stone to getting sexual access. Now, what alpha males understand is there is no such thing as a stepping stone to sexual access. Either you in or you ain't. But betas don't operate that way. So you see, he's trying to be liked. The rest of us are trying to be respected. Politicians, by definition, when's the last time you can name a politician who was respected? You can't. Even the people who voted for him don't respect him. That includes Donald Trump. The folks who support them don't respect them. They like them, but they don't respect them. So that is your political class. Most folks never thought of it that way. But in reality, take a look at it. Politics is not some nest haven of alpha males. You can't name for me an alpha male in the entirety of the Congressional Black Caucus, or the Freedom Caucus, or the House leadership, or the Senate leadership. You can't name it, or in the White House. There's never been an alpha. It doesn't work that way, because alphas go around doing things that displease people. He is respected, but he isn't liked. Betas go around trying to be liked. What is politics? A popularity contest. A bunch of guys who will say anything, do anything to get this menial reward. Alphas don't operate that way. Alpha is going to be Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was not liked. Muhammad Ali was respected. So if y'all want me to give you a real world example, Muhammad Ali, he was, quote, popular, but was he really liked or was he respected? This is a man who said what he really meant, even when it was unpopular, and would not back down. You can't name a politician who operates that way. By definition, they can't. And I'm telling you, the only way that they're able to succeed is because it is in their nature to be betas. They're not alphas. So when they make laws basically from a friend zone perspective. Well, if I do this, it won't come back on me. This will come back on the rest of you, but not on me. This is why Andrew Cuomo sat up here and basically walked himself into a Me Too lawsuit and get himself kicked out of office. Because he sat around this whole time telling himself, don't worry, these draconian laws, well, it'll go after you bad alphas. It won't go after me. Why, the women like me. You know, the one I threw my arm around and the one I kissed on the neck and the one I pinched on the rump. What, they like me? Why, they were laughing and giggling back 10 years ago when I did it. Why, they liked me. Didn't they? Don't you understand? That was the assumption he made. Yeah, I'm not like you alphas. The women actually like me. See, that's the difference. If you could get them to like you, then you can do whatever you want. They don't like you. That's the problem. Then what happened to him? So what I'm telling you, brother, is they don't see it because they can't see it. They think the things that made them eligible for elective office are also the things that will protect them against female nature. They really do believe that. And that's why all of them are easy pickings. And one more thing, females prefer it that way. Ladies, I gotta read the mail. Women prefer it that way, brother. They prefer to have a beta who will serve them. And if you think about it for politics, that's exactly what you should do. By the way, when you think about it in politics, you should go vote for somebody who's going to do whatever the hell you say, no matter how crazy it is. I mean,
even if it's your own best interest, huh?
Well, I mean, that's a relative term, but what I'm saying is that if it's something that you want, because then you're operating under the assumption that if it does start to go bad, you can just go back on a dime and go vote to overturn the decision you made. So you can vote one way one year and you can vote another way the next year. But I'm just saying, by the way, when you do think about it there for a few moments, politics is a den of beta males. They're looking to be liked. The females capitalize on this. The beta males tell themselves that these laws that they make or the regulations they pass, whatever, it'll snag you and me, but it'll leave them unscathed. And then they're completely oblivious to the fact that they're getting knocked off left and right by it. And when you ask them what happened there, didn't you see how this backfired? They'll tell you, no, it only backfired on that guy over there. It only backfired on Cuomo. It only backfired on Adams. It only backfired on them. I'll be okay. It won't backfire on me. That's literally the way they think.
Well, maybe you touched on this a little earlier in the broadcast and I missed it, but it just seems like a lot of these lawsuits are hitting black men, and it looks like a lot of the wealth is being transferred out of the black community into the white and Hispanic community. It looks like some sort of like transfer of wealth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just seems kind of like it's being plotted. You know what I mean?
It doesn't seem like it. It is that. We've been watching that happen since Michael Jackson. We've been watching that happen since Michael Jackson. If you do something that they can twist and turn and mutate and corrupt and be able to just claim you did something, they start cutting their teeth on it with him. Please remember, it was like over a decade from Thriller before they finally found somebody they could run him into court with. And like I say, most people with any sense understand that was bogus too. That was bogus. Folks, if you got a 10-year-old child, are you going to let somebody sit up here and sexually molest your child for years? And then you tell them, well, you know what? I know you've been raping my child for years, but if you give me $30 million, I'll let it go. Somebody tell me which one of you parents in here would say that. That your 10-year-old child, 12-year-old child, well, you know, I know, yeah, Mike, I know you've been raping them for years, but you know, if you, $30 million and we'll stop cooperating with the police, we'll stop trying to put you in jail, just give us $30 million and we'll go take our child to therapy. And we'll let you get back to doing what you was doing. Now, you do understand that's literally, if you believe that Michael Jackson was guilty, you do understand that that's literally what their parents did twice, right? Not just one kid, two kids in a row. If you truly believe he was guilty, then why is it that you are not demanding that those parents be hogtied and brought into court? Because what you're also admitting is that those parents sat there and told him, well, you know what? For $30 million, we'll give it a pass. We'll let it go. We'll let it go. That they literally were sitting there saying, he raped our child, and Your Honor, if he can give us $30 million, our real problem isn't that he raped our child. Our real problem is he didn't pay us enough for it. So we're really in civil court because, you know, this is actually a monetary dispute. He didn't pay us enough residuals. So we believe that our child's sexuality is worth a lot more than, you know, $25,000. We think it's worth a lot more than that. So that's the real issue, Your Honor. And as soon as he paid them, yeah, screw you and the police. We're not cooperating anymore. We told our child not to talk to you anymore. He gave us $30 million. We told our child, stop talking to you. We will not cooperate with you anymore. Now, you tell me who the real criminal is here. Even if you do believe that Michael Jackson was guilty, which I do not, and the evidence clearly states it isn't, the real evidence, if you ever bother to look at it, clearly shows it's not. But by the way, even if you did assume that he was, you only got one devil here, didn't you? You let all the others go. As a matter of fact, you let the real devils go because those kids went right back home with the parents who sold them into sexual bondage. And nobody's interested in that. The California Attorney General, the prosecutor's office, the U.S. Attorney General, the news media, folks on social media, that don't bother you. So you're not bothered by that. That those kids went back home with the parents who said, yeah, $30 million, now let it go. So you'll overlook it for that? Wow. Okay. Okay. I'll let you have the last word.
Well, nothing further. Just excellent broadcast again, and B1.
B1, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call. Now let me get caller code 504. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is G from New Orleans.
G from New Orleans, what's on your mind?
Yeah, brother. I got a question, and then I'll follow up with a comment. Who, in your opinion, is giving these women this platform for them to come out? Like, where do they find and dig these hags up from out of the blue that they can fly them out to NBC or CNN Center like they did with Bill Cosby, like they've done with Diddy, like they do with all of these black men and others? Like, who's paying that? Who's funding this?
Listen.
Because I just don't understand.
Here's the way this works, and I need everybody to understand this. Particularly when you are attached to something that has intellectual properties in particular. Brother, right now there is a crime spree on to purchase people's music publishing. Mm-hmm. There's this dude who's been going around. You might have seen the videos on YouTube about him. You know, I mean, he's gotten the Bee Gees and he's buying up all the music catalogs that he can. All the music publishing that he can. And he's far from the only one, by the way. He's not the only one, but there's a bunch of them out here. And so there's two ways to get a hold of somebody's music catalog. Get them to sell or put them in a compromised position where they have to give it up. And the business is cutthroat. Now, Jason, why are you going through all that? Because let's be very, very clear. If you are a man, and particularly a black man in the industry, if you've had a number one hit song, that's it. Your name is on the record. Your name is on the record. And if there's something, usually they introduce you that early. They bring in the two things that they know niggas can't resist. They bring in drugs and white women. That's the oldest game in the book. That goes back to Jack Johnson. Truth be told, goes back before Jack. They've always been able to rely on that one. That has always been the tripwire that they could rely on. Drugs, white women, that's it. Drugs, women in general, white women in specific. So no wonder they start you early. They got one who's wormed their way in early. And you may have fallen out of contact with her, but I assure you that they haven't. And just like DJ Vlad and the rest of them, they knew where to find Gloria. Just like they knew where to find Tupac's accuser. Just like they know where to find all the others. You may not know where to find them, but they do. Kind of makes you ask the question, well, who really sent them then? Because when folks want to talk about the Illuminati and blood sacrifice, I submit to you all that if your 16-year-old daughter If your 17-year-old daughter is hanging out with triple X-rated Luther Campbell and the rest of his gals, and she's the only non-black one here. Let me say that again. So she's the only non-black one. Folks, come on now. How did Nikki Barnes end up going to prison? Man, do I got to keep reminding y'all. How did Freeway Rick end up going to prison? You sit up here and you set these things up, and it's always this outsider, somebody from outside the black community comes in. Next thing you know, that's the one you brought in, the Asian dude with the Black Panthers. Oh, he was a Fed. Who the hell didn't see that coming? You sit up here and you got the one. The one that didn't come from the neighborhood, the one that's from outside the society, the one that, and what do you know? Years later, you find that's the one. That's the one. You let the one white one in, and that's it. Next thing you know, you hear years later, they talking about you crazy. Years later, they're talking about what you did. And by the way, I have not forgotten Jennifer Lopez. By the way, just in case you all thought I forgot about it for a moment too, yeah, we can go down the damn list. All these folks, Jennifer Lopez, Velez, we can go down the damn list. Have y'all noticed a damn pattern forming here? What?
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, everything was fine, gave them a little bit of room, and next thing you know, now they're doing interviews talking about you being real rapey. Rosie Perez. Thank y'all, Rosie Perez. We'll be here all damn day. We will be here all damn day. There's a reason why you need to watch out for them. Because they know that's catnip for niggas. They know it. So what I'm saying is that those are time bombs that they put in place. And they know what you did. And they know that one day, if they want to pull that card, they're going to dial up them digits and make the phone call. And when they do, she's going to say whatever it is they want her to say, including if it's a lie. Now, that didn't work with Michael Jackson. Michael wouldn't let you catch him like that. I guess Michael thought hanging out with children would be easier because he saw children as more pure, and well, the grown-ups will lie through their asses, but the kids won't. He found out the hard way that's not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Cosby was racking them up for decades. He told himself, well, find them, freak them, and flee. And then found out, oh, don't worry, we'll all just gang up on you. And what the strategy we will use is, well, they couldn't all be lying, could they? These would be the same folks who will tell you that everybody who defends Donald Trump, they're all lying. It's a whole room full of liars. Then when it's Bill Cosby, well, they couldn't all be lying. Not all of them. How could they all just be lying? So I want you all to understand, dudes like Aaron Hall, now you're talking about Guy. Guy's music catalog is very valuable. Guy's catalog is valuable. I'm telling y'all right now, here's the strategy in case you all were wondering. The strategy right now, mark my words, the strategy right now is some of you fellas will sell your music the easy way and some of you gonna sell it the hard way. Let me try this again. Some of you dudes, you're gonna sell your music catalog the easy way or the hard way. If you do not willingly give it up, you better hope we ain't got no dirt on you somewhere because we're coming. And we will dirty you up so much, we'll ruin your name so much, we'll get everybody to drop you, everybody except the distributor and the publisher. Isn't it very interesting, everyone? And I had to tell you all back then. By the way, do you notice that everybody abandoned R. Kelly except the publishing? Well, isn't it amazing now? Everybody's fallen away except the folks from the record side of it. They don't want to break their association with his music. Now, isn't that interesting? So everybody else is willing to dip out, but not if you got distribution or publishing involved with him. Oh, they're not giving that up. They're like, yeah, we're just going to sit here with this. So what do you know? R. Kelly is cooling his heels in prison. And yet the folk who brought him, well, they're still entitled to go ahead and collect them checks. Sound like Bobby Shmurda to anybody? How many times we got to see this? Sound like Bobby Shmurda? And we can go down the list. Slick Rick makes a hit song, off to prison. Mark Morrison makes a hit song, off to prison. So they made the music and never got to get anything from it. How convenient. Mm-hmm. Well, now decades later, it's like, by the way, we can dirty you up and we'll make it where folk don't want to do business with you, but the folks who are involved with your publishing and whatnot, they'll still keep their rights to that. And next thing you know, you won't, if we starve you, you won't be able to hold on to it. You'll have to sell it on account of the fact that you have no other means of income. And then after you sold it to us, what do you know? Next thing you know, they're going to say, okay, everything's fine. Folks, remember Michael Jackson, you're a pedophile, you're this, that, and the other. As soon as the man died, what's the first thing they did? Release posthumous music.
Right.
Sound familiar?
Video game.
Sound familiar? So you're real questionable while you're alive. As soon as the man dropped dead, Sony told everybody he's fine, everything's great. No problems here. Icon, legend. All of a sudden, all that damn chirping against him stopped. Yeah. I know a couple of carpetbaggers tried to make some documentaries, but for the most part, with the music end of it, Michael's music is selling just fine. Michael's music today is selling just fine. Yeah, we don't have to do that anymore because we pressured the man into killing himself. Oh, yeah, and Prince, too. By the way, and Prince, too. And we can go down the list. So what I'm saying is that people who got these music catalogs, I'm just telling y'all right now, it is a voracious feeding frenzy to grab as many of those damn things as you can. The only saving grace for Cash Money Records is they ain't been able to put Birdman in prison. If they could have put Birdman in prison, they would have back of the ass up and everything else. They'd have all of that. If they could have pulled that off. Because you saw what they did. You saw what they did. So I'm just letting you all know where this intellectual property is concerned. I know it's a lot of you think they're niche things. I assure you they're not. If you heard somebody on the radio, I want you to understand that no less than $250,000 went into that. No less than that. It cost thousands and thousands of dollars to get radio play. Period. So even if you consider them to be minor or you think in the context of the dominant society, oh, do they know who they are? Dude, they know who they are. They're part of a large apparatus. It's made plenty of money, but they're thinking about the future. And what I'm saying is these things can be leveraged and will be leveraged. They can be and they will be. Aaron Hall had some hit songs of his own. Aaron Hall, outside of Guy, has had some hit songs of his own. Let's be clear. Aaron may not have been able to capitalize on them to the extent that you might think he should have. But I'm just telling you right now, if somebody else gets a hold of his publishing and whatnot, all of a sudden you're going to hear Let's Make Love and Miss You, and you're going to hear those pop back up again. Or they're going to give them to somebody else and let them do a remake of it. And since they own the rights to it, that's it. Just divest him from it. That's the game now. If we can get away from that, if we can get away from you, that's it. We'll own the intellectual property and we can use it. Turn to jingles, put it on TV shows, put it in the movie or whatever. That's all they got to do. All they got to do is make one show like Atlanta or, whatever else, P-Valley or whatever, and throw your song up in there. Next thing you know, it's hot again. Got to remind y'all about them kids on TikTok who mixed, and I hate that people keep saying Raphael Sadiq. It was not Raphael Sadiq. It was Tony. I know Raphael Sadiq he didn't make a solo album, that song. Anniversary, I think it was, and mixed that with Hurricane Chris. I'm just saying, think about that for a few moments. Hurricane Chris was in the middle of a damn murder trial right here in my hometown of Shreveport. He was in the middle of a murder trial, and Hey Baby was taken off again over a decade later with no help from the record labels or anything, just out of nowhere. What I'm saying is you live in an era where songs can become spontaneously popular again. And radio is not where songs become popular now. TikTok is. TikTok is what makes stuff hot today. And all it takes is that, and these kids are agnostic about that. If they like what they hear, that's what's going to go viral. They are not going to go check your rap sheet. If they like what they hear, that's what's going to go viral. Okay, those are the rules. So what's going to happen here is if I can wrestle your publishing away from you, if I can wrestle those rights away from you, then I can make this hot again, and I don't have to give you anything. So leave no stone unturned. They're going back and getting everybody. We thought, leave no stone unturned. Grab all them niggas from the 80s and 90s. All of them. Grab every catalog that is worth getting, and a few of them ain't. Grab them all. If you recognize the name, grab them. Get them. They won't sell them. Dirty them up. Make it worth nothing. Trash it. Like gentrification. Let the neighborhood go downhill until it's worth nothing. It'll be worth nothing to him. He'll have to sell it to us. Hell, he'll sell it to us for pennies then. Like Death Row Records. We'll run into the ground. You'll have to sell it to us for pennies. And then once we've got it, we'll put it on ice for 5 or 6 years. And then we'll go ahead and spin it back up again, because by then we'll have this huge library of songs, of artists. We'll have this huge library. And that's what they're doing right now, is just collecting this giant library of publishing and masters. And they're going to get at you by hook or by crook. And then after you're out of the picture, then we'll bring it back. And yes, that includes R. Kelly. By the way, that includes, first of all, he never went anywhere. That's the first thing. But second of all, don't worry. His music will make it back. It'll be in a movie somewhere or someplace. It'll make it back there too. Even him. Even him. That's what you're seeing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 1,000% right on that. And if just one comment, Eddie Griffin a few years ago was on Vlad, and I'll never forget when he stated that no black man leaves this business clean, talking about show business. And every black man has to have an asterisk by their name. I firmly believe that now, in just what I've seen. Every black entertainer you can think of now, they have something that they've mocked him from. Even from Will Smith, although he self-inflicted himself, but even Diddy. You look at Diddy, you look at Kobe Bryant, I look at Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and even going further than that, what you mentioned about the music publishing, look at Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke was trying to own his own, or he did actually own his own publishing, and apparently he was giving some of his money away to Malcolm X and Dr. King, and then he dies mysteriously in a hotel, and they say he's a rapist.
This is an old game. This is an old game, and if we're honest about it and actually paying attention and not just taking whatever story folks say, if you actually add up the mathematics of it, if you actually just add this up, what you see is that this actually makes perfect sense. If you guys will not, they brought you into the business. We all know drugs and women are part. They plug you with that in the business when you get started. You come in the business and there's somebody trying to plow you with cocaine or drugs or whatever, and that is how they make sure that they're automatically plugging in your exit date. Soon as you hit them drugs, soon as you chase those women, we've already subscribed your expiration date. If we do give you a stay of execution, it's only because it was a fluke, not because that was the plan. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me see if I can get over here on Zoom. All right, I got Don over here on Zoom. Let me get the thing up here. All right, Don, what's on your mind, brother?
Jason, this is Don calling from San Francisco.
Yes, it is.
In San Francisco. How you doing, my brother?
All right, brother, what's on your mind?
Well, you and I both know the business, man, especially around that time. the 90s and the early 2000s was crazy. So it's like these females, just to give you an example of what you were talking about. So we were out on tour with Genuine, and he met Soleil. And once she got her talons in that, brother, it was a wrap, man. She wasn't letting go. And, you know, before that, it was women aplenty. But that's what it is, man. They go out specifically, whatever connections they can use to get backstage, to get that artist, just to catch his attention. And it doesn't matter, you know, I've been from California to New York, from Florida up to you know, Milwaukee and those places, and to Montreal to Quebec. It's all the same, man. And the thing about it is, when you're in the business, women don't care. They looking for a door in. You could be not even the artist, but she'll do what she got to do with you to get hooked up with the artist. It's crazy, man. And then, this whole thing with catalogs. We know what MJ owned, and they wasn't having that. We know what Bill Cosby was trying to do. They wasn't having that. And we know what Prince owned. And you were dead on point when you were talking about publishing, because that is what it's about. So I'm from the Bay. That's where I cut my teeth in the business. So that picture you had of Ice-T, that was one of some of the earliest memories. I met that brother at the Players Ball at the Dolphin Club when I was hanging out with Short and them. But yeah, man, it's the wild west.
Well, you know, here's my thing about it. The attitudes. Well, let me go ahead and back it up a little bit here, because you never heard this kind of outrage, not today, when you talk about Jerry Lee Lewis. Talk about Elvis Presley, who Priscilla Presley is defending him to this day. Priscilla Presley gets asked about this. She just did an interview here a month or two ago. She just did an interview still defending Elvis Aaron Presley and her relationship to this day. To this day. They ain't giving her and Elvis the Diddy treatment. They ain't giving none of that. That's not coming up at all. They just letting it be. Okay, I see you. And yet, now just overnight, you done watch Luther Campbell make front page news overnight? Like, so Luther is bigger than Elvis? Really? Luther's bigger than Elvis now. Really? How the hell does that work? Aaron Hall, which, Aaron is one of my favorite singers of all time, so let me tread carefully here, because I'm going to offend a lot of people if I don't do this the right way. Aaron is one of the most talented singers, performers in the history of music, period, bar none. But let's keep it real. It's been about a decade and a half now. It's been a dry decade. It ain't been a bunch of chart toppers coming out, so it's been a bit of I guess that guy money must be thick, because he ain't living off no new music, I can tell you that. So the guy music got to be thick. It's got to be thick. But all that having been said, so how the hell is it that this man can basically be out the business? Because the last album I think he made was like a farewell album, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think that was actually the title of it. So what I'm saying is, so you've been gone for a decade and a half. He certainly hasn't been trying to get back into music. Last time anybody saw him was a guy reunion that didn't go nearly as well as people might have hoped it had. Next thing you know, Aaron Hall is front page news. How the hell? You telling me that's not a setup?
Yeah, you got to remember though, a lot of these guys are multi-hat. So they may disappear from off the stage, but they're still back writing songs and collaborating with other people and stuff like that. Some of them are engineers like Dr. Dre. So they getting paid on the back end. They getting the real money. And that's what I'm glad you brought that up. That was a real point of contention in the early 2000s when these brothers learned the game and they said, you know what? You ain't eating off us no more. You just distribute our music. We'll do the rest. And so, yeah, like you were saying, if they could get their hands, they'd be doing the Birdman hand rub if they could get their hands on that catalog. But yeah, it's all about them catalogs. And there's one common denominator in all of this, whether it's lawyers, music moguls, or individuals that have these publishing companies. They all the same people. And I'm going to end it there.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, we appreciate that. Let me get caller from area code 808. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, it's Cassandra. I'm calling from DC.
Okay, let's try that again. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Okay. Last try here. It seems like you're fumbling with your phone.
Oh, no.
What's
going on?
What is your name? Where are you calling
Hello?
from?
Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Stop fumbling with your phone.
Oh, okay.
What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Christina from DC.
Okay, Christina from DC. What is on your mind, such as it is?
So I've just been listening, and my question is, so how do women stay off of these lists that I feel like men are compiling of us? Gold diggers.
Don't be a gold digger.
I don't know, old thoughts.
Don't be an old thought. I'm sorry. Don't be a gold
Okay,
digger.
so
How do you stay off the
like
list of gold
that-
diggers? Don't be a gold digger. How do you stay off the list of old thoughts? Don't be a young thought. So,
I feel okay, I suppose. So I feel like that's just that. I don't really feel like you said anything there. I feel like y'all call anyone. So for you to be speaking about power dynamics, my understanding
You're not even
is
finishing
how
the
are women
sentence.
supposed to operate?
she's not even finishing her sentences. Can you please try again? That's the very definition of incoherence. If you're going to start a sentence, please finish it. So otherwise, it's just half a thought. Try again.
I mean, if I realized that I want to say something else, I can change that mid-sentence. But if women are supposed to operate, in this power dynamics that you're talking about, why is it that you would want a woman to be in a relationship that they're not benefiting from?
Okay,
Exactly.
what are the benefits that a woman should expect in a relationship?
Reciprocity is one. I mean, respect, protection, if that's something you guys agreed on.
Okay,
But,
thank
I mean,
you. Thank
just
you.
going
If that's something you guys agreed on, so in other words, what a
Yeah.
woman expects in a relationship varies from one woman to another.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So by definition, what you would consider to be beneficial may not be what another woman considers to be beneficial. So how can you hold that against men? If she was with that dude, then she was obviously getting the benefits she was looking for.
No, so for women who want certain benefits in a relationship and to request those benefits, y'all appear to be calling women gold diggers and
Okay,
all of
request
these
what
terms. I don't
benefits?
understand.
Okay, request, you were going in circles here. Request what benefits?
Okay, say I want a pair of shoes and I ask for the shoes. Why is that so derogatory? Spoken of so derogatory by you men. Like I literally don't understand.
Well, I mean, that's not. However, the question is, what you're saying is that your reason for being with that man is transactional. And by that, I mean commercially transactional. That is a commercial transaction, like going to Walmart or like going to AMC. No, man, that's what you just described. If I want a pair of shoes.
But I started with reciprocity.
Okay, but no. Okay, ma'am, you said that if I want a pair of shoes, what is wrong with me asking for that? Well, there's nothing, quote unquote, wrong with asking for it. However, you're perfectly able of acquiring your own pair of shoes. So if you want a man to simply give you a pair of shoes simply because you've asked, that's a problem. So what is it that you are doing that makes you worthy of a man giving you a pair of shoes instead of giving himself a pair?
Well, first of all, he should don't you? But if we're in a relationship and we have mutual respect and genuine care for each other, I don't what?
Okay, tell me what the financial value of your quote respect is.
The financial value? I mean, not everything has financial value.
Okay, but you just put it. No, if a pair of shoes has a financial value, and you just said, well, if we're in a relationship and we have mutual respect, I'm making the relation between mutual respect and that pair of shoes.
Are things transactional or not?
You're the one who said I will get a pair of shoes. A pair of shoes is a financial transaction. You can't acquire a pair, ma'am. You cannot acquire ma'am. We're not going to talk over the host. Calm down. You cannot acquire a pair of shoes except financially. Therefore, if you say I'm in a relationship to get a pair of shoes, that is your relationship has a financial. You just literally just said, well, if I'm with a man and we have mutual respect, what's wrong with him buying me a pair of shoes? I'm using your example. Okay, you're the one who made the example. I'm using the example that you made. You said you brought up something that is a financial component. You don't get a pair of shoes without finances.
Well, if I would have brought up something emotional, you would have been like, well, what's the financial incentive?
No, ma'am, you can bring up something. No, you can bring up something emotional. Go ahead and try it.
Okay, fine. We are there emotionally for each other. We help each other build a business that we both.
Oh, okay. A business. No. A business and emotions are mutually exclusive. You don't need emotions to build a business, and you don't need a business to have emotion. So you're the one bringing that back to finances, by the way. So can we stick strictly on emotion and without a financial component?
Fine. I thought that would just be easier to dissect. Fine. Emotion.
Great. What's the emotional benefit that you're looking for?
Support. People go through things every day. People want to have someone to lean on and support them emotionally.
Okay, do you hear men complaining, wow, these women want us to support them emotionally? Who's complaining about that?
No.
Thank you. So what you're saying there is no problem with you all acquiring emotional support then.
Right. Okay. So is that not, and not to say I'm looking for a pair of shoes, I'm just using that as a tangible example. So if this woman that you are with, that you have that mutual relationship with, is asking things of you, like what would lead you to saying derogatory things such as calling her a gold digger?
Okay, if this woman that you're in a relationship with is asking things of you. If this woman that you're in a relationship with is asking things of you. So do you notice you keep linking a male-female relationship to financial rewards and benefits for the female? You notice you keep doing that?
I feel like it's an ornament to the tree. Yeah, it's on there.
But obviously it's not an ornament. It's a requirement because you can't describe a relationship that you consider to be worth anything without it. And I keep asking, give me the part that is exclusive of.
Emotionally every day for them to lean on. That's the foundation.
The foundation is you two being able to lean on each other emotionally. And we've already conceded and established that men don't have a problem with that. And you concede, the fella's doing fine at that.
Okay.
So you all are getting your emotional needs met.
Oh, okay. So we're not supposed to want anything else, is what you're saying?
No. I'm saying, are you saying you want more than that?
Confused.
Because you just said you didn't.
Yeah,
you said that was the
literally what I'm
foundation.
saying.
Oh, so now you're back to saying, I do want more than that. So leaning on him, being able to lean on him.
Power dynamics?
So you're saying that being able to lean on him emotionally isn't enough.
Is he not able to lean on me? Is this not mutual? I'm confused.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. But we're saying that that does not require a financial component. He has satisfied all his requirements to you. He's satisfied all his requirements to you simply being for emotional purposes. What you're saying is that's not enough. I need emotional and some other.
No, I'm not saying I need that. Obviously, I can live and breathe without those things. But if I want it and I desire it, what is the problem?
No, if you're saying that you need that in order to have a happy, productive relationship.
I didn't say I need that. I'm saying I desire it.
Why do you desire it from him? Why do you require him to financially provide for you?
Why do I want that? Why do I desire it?
No. Why are you requiring it? You don't just desire it, you're requiring it.
Well, first, I like for men to show me love through gifts. I don't know. I don't really have I guess I don't have a good answer for that. Yeah.
But there's my point is that if it requires financial expenditure and gifts, that's a requirement. When we know full well that women establish relationships with men all the time that don't have a financial requirement to it, then once you tell me that a relationship is not worth you entering unless there's a financial component of rewards for you, now we're getting into gold digging. Because what you're saying is that his value as a masculine being, you don't really consider that to be worth anything.
I don't think I'm saying that, but if that's what you perceive,
ma'am, that's literally what you've been saying, going around in circles. When you were asked, is emotion enough? First you said yes, and I said, oh, good. So we're already doing that. And you say, okay, yeah, but why can't I require more?
Yeah. Why not? Why can't I?
Nobody said you cannot. But what we're also saying is, once we see what your motives are, then you should be adult enough to acknowledge and simply accept what it really is that you're doing. And what you're saying is that your priority for a man is financial. That you want gifts, you want benefits, and that if you're not getting that, you sense a disturbance in the force.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you said it like that.
Right. Now, how is that different from a gold digger?
I guess she doesn't really care about anything as long as there needs to be no connection. As long as the transaction is transactioning, nothing else is important.
Okay, but the bottom line is that she considers the relation. She knows she can have his emotional support, but she considers the relation. But she considers the relationship to be irrelevant if it is not primarily financially beneficial for her.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that. I mean, I wouldn't just. I don't think that's the case. I would like that, and I do like it, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of start acting a certain way.
Therein lies the point. And nobody's saying that you can't like that, but what you're saying is, well, why is it y'all call us a gold digger when you do that? Because you are making a financial requirement of the relationship. That's why.
Okay.
When you say that I require this for me to even feel that this is a relationship, I can't be happy in this relationship unless I'm getting financial rewards. Well, that's a gold digger.
I feel like I'm not saying that, but I can't argue with what you're saying.
But you've already conceded that you will not accept it without it. So, yes, that is literally what you're saying. Yeah. She's like, do you have to say it like that? Yeah, we're just saying it like that. What I'm saying is, if we're going to be adults, then part of adulthood is just being able to bluntly and straightforwardly say what it is you actually want and what it is you actually need, and then you hold that.
Yeah. I'm kind of.
If a chick says,
I'm not going back on that anymore.
If a chick says that as a consequence of having a relationship with me, I feel I am entitled to financial gifts and benefits simply as a component of being in a relationship with me. Now, that's not a desire, that's a requirement.
Okay, fine. So if I'm in a relationship with a man and I just go out with him or whatever, and he's dressed to the nines, and I come out looking like a bum, he can't say nothing to me, right?
Okay, here's the question. Okay, right? Here's the question. The question is, why are you dressed like a bum entertaining the company of a man who, slow down, you talk too much. Why are you dressed like a bum entertaining the company of a man who is not?
I had a bad day.
Okay, then why is it you want to have a mismatch? If this guy's dressed to the nines and you are not his equal, why are you insisting on a relationship with someone that you just admitted that you two are not a match, you're a mix?
So now physical appearance matter?
No, I'm asking, why is it that you want a relationship with a man that you just admitted you're not on his level?
I just said I came out the house dressed like a bum that day.
Okay, well, you didn't say you chose to. You said if he's dressed in the nines, I'm dressed like a bum. So do you have better clothes that are on his level?
Yeah.
Okay, then why?
I just don't want to wear them.
If you do not wish to wear them, then you got some emotional issues going on there if I'm him, because you're his female representative. So I wouldn't want somebody who doesn't represent me well.
Okay, so it just seems like men can have all of the requirements in the world, and anytime a woman has a requirement, she's going on a list.
Okay, what are the requirements? Okay, let's go ahead and unpack that. What are the requirements that men have of women today? Go, name them.
Didn't you just say she has to, of her physical appearance needs to be up to par? Didn't you just say that?
Okay, what else?
Okay, I'll just go with her physical appearance needs to be up to par. She needs to be making over, I don't know what y'all say, $80K. She's have her own car. She's go to the gym, do yoga and Pilates. She can be nice to you, not ask for gifts. Take whatever you're willing to spare emotionally. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm very confused. That's why I'm calling. But that's what I have so far.
Okay, so you think those are the things that men require of women today. Got it. Now, what are the things that women require of men today?
Like in actuality, not much. The bar is very low. But what they should require is competency, protection.
Ma'am, what is it when you go on social media? What is it you see women on Instagram constantly talking about with men? It's very clear, and it's not a low bar. So if you have to be dishonest to make your point, it's not a point worth making.
Is it money?
Okay, when you say money, what does that mean?
Money that he's got to spend on me?
Okay, money is not an amount.
Oh, like a certain a disposable income. I would say probably over 100K.
Okay. Well, I guess that depends on where you are, but what else?
Oh. What, clothes, a nice car.
Okay, for him or for her?
What do women require of men? Nice clothes, a nice car. Disposable income.
Okay, so you're saying that the woman wants to be given, she wants to get nice clothes and a nice car from him.
No, what do women want the men to have, I guess? Nice clothes.
No, I said, what do women expect from men?
Oh, what do women expect? I honestly don't know. The bar is so low, and it's
okay. If you have to be dishonest to make a point, then your point is not worth making. You know full well that women have a 100-point checklist of things they want to require. They want him to make 5 times as much income as she does. They want him to be 6'5". They want him to be muscular. They want him to have a mechanical aptitude. They also want him to like soap operas and pets. They want him to want to go on vacation, but they also want him to be a workaholic. They want for him to be a clothes horse, and they also want him to be able to get dirty and oily up under a car. Women want him to be able to hold a conversation with all of her girlfriends and yet be the life of the party and magnetic in the company of males, which is all these oxymorons and contradictions. The things that you named that men expect from women, you actually deliberately had to go into being redundant. And by the way, I took down everything you said. You said physical appearance, making over 80K, have her own car, goes to the gym, nice attitude, not ask for gifts, take whatever you're willing to spare emotionally, appearance and go to the gym, that's actually redundant. Making over 80K, we never said that. Men don't have a financial requirement for women.
Y'all call us broke all the time?
Now, we should have a financial requirement, but in reality, the truth of the matter is a guy who makes $1 million a year will date a chick who works at Victoria's Secret if she's cute enough. So we don't have a financial requirement, so that's actually a lie. That's the reason why women are unhappy, is because men's list of requirements is so small and so sparse that our options in females is actually tremendously wide because of that. Women, however, have such a speciation. Look it up. Women have such a specificity to what they want in men that it has an 80-point checklist you have to go down before you have a man that she's actually claims to be happy and satisfied with, and then once he gives her everything, she's going to say you're a pushover and you give me everything. So in reality, for men, you can really just distill it down to those 3 things. Does she have a cute face, a cute attitude, and a cute demeanor? Done. 3 things. For women, he's got to have the money, the look, the status, the emotional, quote, intelligence, the intellect, the mechanical aptitude, be impressive to her family and her friends. And the money component is a huge one because he's got to be in the top 10% of the population. When you mentioned physical appearance and going to the gym, you are not referring to a woman's got to look like she's has a physique and a face together. Her face and physique are in the top 10% of females. Now, that's not what you mean when you say that. That's not at all what you mean. What you mean is an average chick who's in decent shape. You do not mean a female who is in the top 10% of looks, much less the top 5%. That ain't what you talking about. Not at all. But that's what you all expect from men. Now, you expect us to be at least in the top 10%, preferably in the top 5. Now, do you know how damn hard it is to be in the top 10%? And by the way, for those of you who are unaware, let me go ahead and put a reminder on the screen for you here about that top 10%, just to give you a reminder. These are the numbers for the top 10%, just to give you all a refresher here about that.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
For those of you who have not updated your files in the last 3 years, let me go ahead and take this upon myself to say this again. It's time to update your files, people. The top 10% is not 6 figures anymore. It hasn't been 6 figures. I mean, it hasn't been $100,000 for a while. To be in the top 10% today, you got to make $173,000. And this number is probably going to go up here in 2024 next year. To be in the top 5%, it's no longer $250,000. That's $342,000 now. To be in the top 5%, not $250,000, $342,000. So fellas, making $100K no longer puts you in the top 10%. You're now stuck in the top 13. You want to be in the top 10? You got to kick that extra $73,000, which is damn near double what you had to get before. Now, let's be clear. That's a hell of a task to have to pull, because here's the issue, Christine. You want the men to become twice as valuable as they were. That money component alone. The men have to continue getting more valuable, but the women are not becoming more pretty, more presentable. We're getting the same looks, the same attitude, the same caliber of female, even if you get the best female, you're still only getting the same quantity of those qualities I just named. It's not like if you make if you're making $100,000 a year now, and then you make $200,000 a year next year, the female that you're with, she's going to go from a 6 to an 8 or from an 8 to a 10. That's not happening. Or if she is a 10, she's not going from a 10 to a 20. That's not going to occur. So folks have become very conveniently amnesic when it comes to that. So for men, that bar you're naming, it's not a low bar. That bar is outrageously high. The majority of the female population can't meet the 6-figure requirement in their own lives. 173,000, that eliminates 95% of you right there off the top. But you expect that from the men. At a minimum, you expect that. Something that you all simply can't do. All so we can get the same Christine that we had 36 months ago. So 36 months later, you're getting a much higher quality of male. 36 months later, he gets the same Christine.
Well, I mean, if you've been with a woman for 36 months and you haven't developed her, I mean, is that really her fault?
Okay, what I'm saying is you have a ceiling on your development. You're only going to get so pretty. You're only going to get so nice. You're only going to get so resourceful. The man's upper limit is unlimited. Ours is unlimited. And you all expect us to just keep going, even if you drop dead.
I can agree. Okay, so, but isn't that strategic of a woman to want a man earning a certain amount? I mean,
sure it is. It's certainly in her best interest. Absolutely, it certainly is in her best interest. What I'm saying, though, is that we need to be adults about it. If a female does not value, if a female's core value of you is your income and your ability to financially give her gifts, that's a problem. Now, a female should want a man who is driven, and success is the result of being driven. Nothing wrong with that at all. But when a female is putting a price tag on your affection, when she's putting a price tag on it, when she can go to the store and redeem its value, now this is something different. Because at the end of the day, a female is supposed to be attached to you, and everything else is just a bonus. But when she's telling you love ain't enough, I need to run them pockets to find out how valuable your quote love is, what I'm saying is call it what it is. That's not a woman who's attached to you. That's a woman who's attached to your income. Or should I say the financial benefits of knowing you. And that's when a man needs to cut bait. Because at the end of the day, that woman needs to be committed to you and understand that your ability to provide is a given, but that should not be the core of why she's there. She should be like, I'm attached to him. I love the way he makes money. I love the way he works on cars. I love the way he's an alpha. I love the way he does all those things. Not, well, he's a cool dude, but if he wasn't making the money he was, I wouldn't want to be here. There's the problem.
What? Okay.
How old are you, Christine?
I'm 30. 30?
How many kids you got?
What? I don't have any kids.
Baby, you sound like you got childbearing hips.
I do not have any children. They scare me.
They scare you. The kids are the ones who need to be scared. Not you. No.
That's fine. That's why I don't have that.
The kids are the ones who need to be terrified here. Well, Christine, like I say, if this confuses you now, it'll only get worse, but I don't think you're confused. I think it's just that she's like, well, why do men have to have standards? The females get to have outrageous standards, but the men don't even get to have a standard of what it is we consider to be acceptable. There's the problem. We're told we can't even have a standard of what's acceptable to us.
I would never. Well, I'll say I would never say that. That's crazy.
No, at the end of the day, it gets distilled down to one thing. The women want the men to give them unlimited benefits. And in return, the women want to be obligated to give the man absolutely nothing. That this is what the society has become. That the ideal relationship in females' minds today is that the man will simply give her everything. Everything. And in return, she will be obligated to give him absolutely nothing. That she will tell him that, well, I gave you an attaboy and a pat on the head, and I have fulfilled my feminine obligations to you. And that's an exploitative relationship. That's abuse. But that's not a relationship. That's not a beneficial relationship.
I don't know how we got there when I started off with emotional support, and that I don't agree with what you just said. No,
okay, but here's the issue. You said emotional support. Even there, you do not mean for the man to get the same emotional support that you do.
Yes, I do.
Okay,
What is crazy.
What is the emotional support that you think you are willing to extend to men?
I mean, being a man is hard. I'm sure you have discussions that you want to, I don't know, dissect. Maybe you want to feedback on your perspective on something. You want it from an intimate place. That's very broad.
Thank you. Feedback on something.
Okay.
Feedback on something.
Huh?
Here's the issue.
Yeah.
When you say that you want emotional support, what do you mean?
The same. You know, I go through things. So just
You want a man who's going to give you feedback.
Actual. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, ma'am, that is not what you're looking for. You're looking for a fellow who can be your shoulder to cry on. You're looking for a fellow who can be your rock to lean on. If you're having a bad day, you want a fellow who you can complain to about that and go through all your emotional gesticulations. But you will not accept that from your man. Now, there's the difference. If he's having a difficult time, you will actually lose attraction for him if he starts complaining about it.
What? Why?
Because that's female. Because that's female nature. Because that is female nature. You don't want a man who is as emotionally needy as you are. You consider that to be feminine.
I mean, it depends on how it's displayed, honestly. But
Thank you. Okay, if you have to say depends, then the answer is yes. That's correct.
Okay.
If he doesn't get to do it, if his ability to get emotional support is not identical to your ability to get it, then you're saying you want him to have less. Which is the whole point I'm making the whole time. You do not want him to be able to emotionally lean on you the way that you're able to emotionally lean on him. So even when it comes to that emotional component that you were talking about, you have no intention of giving him the same thing that you're expecting him to give you. You have no intention of doing that. And you would tell him that you become less attracted to him if he tries.
Less valuable, but okay.
Ma'am, it different here. It has a quantitative value. If he's leaning on you like a female does on a man, if he tries to lean on you as much as you lean on him, you will call that feminine. You will say that is not masculine.
I mean, it depends on how you're doing it. So, I mean, is that okay for a man to be like leaning on you like female? I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm not making a value judgment out there one or the other. I'm just reporting the news. And what I'm saying is that even for the things that you say you will give him, you're still not going to give him as much as he's going to give you. You want more emotional support from him than you would ever be willing to give him. And that's just it. That's the way it works. Or should I say, doesn't. So as long as people are, I want folks to just be honest about this, not accusing men of calling folks gold diggers. What I'm saying is that if your relationship has a requisite monetary component, and we start adding these things up here, then just understand, find out what a woman really values. And if she is a gold digger, well, Christine, be the best gold digger you can be.
Oh, I think both parties should find out what the other party values, because I'm not really sure what men value either. But okay.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Actually, a good call to get there, because like I say, she actually represents a good portion of the female population. Let's just keep it real. She actually does represent a good portion of the female population. Ladies, we just got to call it what it is. You saw I didn't get mad. I didn't get upset. I didn't say the problem with the world is gold diggers. I'm like, if you're going to be a gold digger, be the best gold digger you can be. If you're going to be a gold digger, be the best gold digger you can be. Be the best one you can be. And as men, we would respect you if you just came up the middle with it. There's the real issue. The real issue isn't that the females are gold diggers. The real issue is you got a chick pretending that she loves you. It's just like, okay, if she just come out the gap, look, I got to have a new pair of shoes for me to feel sexy around here. It's like, okay, we can respect that. But there's a problem with that. And the problem with that is as soon as you start telling us that you need to have a new pair of shoes or a Fendi bag to feel sexy around here, then we're going to tell you whether or not you are sexy enough to motivate us to acquire said pair of shoes or handbag or take on an expense. Because you might feel like a $6,000 handbag. Yeah, you might feel like a $6,000 handbag, but you look more like a $2 trash bag. So what we're saying is you can't have handbag goggles with a trash bag body. Is an attitude and demeanor and presentation and IQ. Don't work that way. Caller Miracle 757, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Jason. This is Serenity from Norfolk, Virginia.
And to what do I owe this pleasure, Serenity?
I have a question. So I don't know if it's about like power dynamics. It might be really more towards relationships, but I dated both older and younger guys, and I'm starting to sense a pattern with the younger ones. So we talked about like women, like the patterns of narcissism and big mirror in her house, so she's full of vanity and all that. But like, if I were to ask an older guy for a picture, he'd be like, I don't take selfies. Like, here's a picture of me and a buddy for a bar from 5 years ago. I asked a younger guy, he has a whole collection. He just took a selfie 5 hours ago, and he's boasting about it. So is it just because like they're younger, or like when does male vanity become an issue, or is it even an issue? Like, am I just tripping?
No, I mean, no, that is an issue there. Because here's the thing, okay? I've said this here before, and this is one of my Jason's laws. A mirror does things to a female that it does not do to a male. Let me say it again for everybody out there. Update your files. This is one of your rules for life. A mirror does things to a female, things that it doesn't do to a man. This is why productive men, when they have a cell phone camera, he points the camera out toward the world. A female points the camera toward herself. So yes, there is actually a direct line of connection between a man's vanity and his masculine productivity. There's a direct line of sight, direct. Now, when you say older men, what age range are we referring to?
36 to about 44.
36 to 44. Okay. Well, certainly, if a guy is in his 30s, then what you're going to be coming up here against is that trajectory I warned you all about. Once a man meets his mid-30s, it's time for him to get his money and his act together. He has to. It's a matter of survival. He's going to have to decide what he wants to be in this world. He's either going to fall off, he's either going to just plateau, or he's going to keep going towards unlimited. So, yeah, remember, as men, if you want a man who is productive, we've only got there are certain character traits that we developed that made us that way. Preening in front of the mirror probably isn't one of them. And so just remember, as a core characteristic, he might feel some kind of way about that because he probably remembers, you know what, the guys who were not as productive as me, they were the ones with the cute shoes and the manicured nails and the lip balm and the S curl. Those were the guys. And so as a part of his core personality and principles, he might be anathema to that. Look it up. He might be against that kind of thing.
Okay.
Simply because that he understands that actually inhibited his productivity. So here's the thing, Serenity. You can get a man who is resourceful and productive, or you can get a man who is cute and inviting, but it's very unlikely you can get both. So you're going to have to ask yourself that. Now, as for this younger generation of males, I also think that you're recognizing that a lot of them are not nearly as productive as you'd like for them to be. Not nearly. You know why? Because they're starting to feel as entitled as you are as a female. They're trying to figure out how to get entitled too, because most of them were raised by single moms. Now, what will happen is the world's going to kick them in the ass when they realize that they're never going to get the benefits that you're going to get. Because females don't take care of males. So it doesn't matter how cute he is. You might let him loaf on your couch for a little bit, but if a man will let a female lay on his couch for the rest of her life, a female will not let a man do that. Let me say this again, folks. A man will pay the bills, theoretically, and allow a female to lay on his couch for the rest of, hell, forget the house. She'll be on the bed and he'll be on the couch for the rest of his life. A woman isn't gonna pay the bills and let a dude lay on her couch for the remainder of her days. It's not the way that works.
Yeah.
So even the biggest mama's boys are gonna have to start doing something different. Even if it's not very successful, he won't be able to stay on your couch. He'll have to go find another one to get on. But he won't be able to stay on yours. And then if he does go somewhere else, he's eventually gonna get evicted from that one too. So these younger fellas, I think what you notice is that, they're very good at taking selfies, but they're also not nearly as productive as you would like. Not nearly. The older fellas, if you talk to them, just understand he's got a program. That's probably not a part of it. Now, the thing that you did say about he wants to send me pictures from 5 years ago. Well, I'm not really sure where that may come from necessarily. 5 years ago seems a bit of a time there. But what I will say is that if you've got the ability to see him, first of all, you shouldn't try to go out with somebody you haven't necessarily confirmed that about necessarily. But if you have the ability to see him, what's the issue? Like if you can get on Zoom or Skype or something like that, that'd be the thing. But let me find out a question here. You say if I ask him for a picture, what exactly did you want a picture for?
Like a contact picture, or I don't know, like say I don't really go on dating websites anymore, but like say I were to meet him through a dating website, and you ask people for like their media, like pictures of them, whatever.
Okay. Well, what I will say is that under those circumstances, they might not be feeling you. Oh, did I just mess things up for them? Oh, I might have done that. He might not be feeling you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he, like I say, when a fella's not trying to leave a bunch of tracks with you, that's because it makes it easier to vanish. So he doesn't have to explain to any other females, do you know this chick name's Randy? I don't know it. So it makes it easier to vanish. So I will say that. So if you're running into a string of guys and that's, that is a pattern that you're noticing, then it's because it makes it easier for them to disappear.
Oh no. Okay, I see.
Okay. So if you're seeing a pattern
Thank you so much.
that might explain it. Serenity, what the
Thank
hell
you
are
so
you
much for
what the
answering
hell
the
are you
call.
doing to these dudes?
I don't know. I'm gonna find out.
Boot camp, Serenity, boot camp. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, Serenity. You know it. You know it. I know it. They know it. Caller Mary Code 804. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
I'm Cassie, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Okay, Cassie, from where at in Virginia?
Virginia.
Second time, Cassie, where at in Virginia?
Oh, I'm sorry, Henrico.
All right, Cassie and Henrico, what's on your mind?
I've been listening to your program on this subject for a while. I'm older, and I was trying to see what the heck was going on. I had talked to my nieces and nephews, and they said they wish they could go back to the way we used to date. And the more they talk, the more... What in the heck is wrong with these younger women? They are the most stupidest generation of women I've ever seen.
Well, what happened is female nature. That's what happened. You have to understand, right now on planet Earth today, there are more millionaires on planet Earth today, more millionaires and billionaires than there have ever been. Ever. So women's ability to actually live that elevated princess life is more attainable today than it's ever been, or at least perceptually it's more attainable. So what used to be the reserve of only the upper class is now the goal of every single female on the planet. Every woman on the planet is aiming for that. So what used to be where the height of, you would go get a Mercedes when you were a little old lady, or get a Cadillac when you were a little old lady and go to church. So y'all were waiting until you were 67 until you got your gold watch from the company and finally go get that Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. Baby, they want to have a BMW in high school now. They want to have a Maybach. They want to have a G-Wagon or a Maybach by the time they're 25.
You know why that's so stupid? Jason, you know why that is so stupid? Because that crap don't last. A man lasts. A good man lasts. Those things are just trinkets.
Well,
a good man lasts.
Here's the problem.
I had a 20-year relationship.
But they don't have a concept of that.
And
they don't have a concept of what good means. Good is a relative term, and good is subjective. But you have two generations of females now who have been raised without a father in the home. You would have to define what a, quote, good man is, because they spent their entire lives living without it.
My mother and father were divorced. And, but the teachings of my mother wasn't the teachings that these jackasses are doing now. They're telling these young girls, go for what he got and stuff. But that shit is not gonna last. Those trinkets, that I don't care if they buy you a Gucci watch. That crap is not gonna last. A man lasts. Having a good relationship and treating someone decent lasts. I don't care what is said and what is not said. And I blame men, because you shouldn't have put up with that crap.
Well, I mean,
put up with that crap.
For a lot of fellas, it's a lot easier to do that because men have needs. And the bottom line is that there are plenty of fellas who, if they can't get it, if they don't actually have a skill set that makes females, attracted to them, then they'll just start resorting to desperate tactics, which is give them whatever they want, lay down, bait yourself out, let yourself be exploited. That's what happens.
Yeah, they've gotten weaker. They've gone weak, and that is because no one is teaching our men to be men. They had generations of black men who didn't do what they were supposed to do, and teach the others to do the right thing.
Well, that is
to
true.
Have control.
That's true, but then it flips to another regard here, because here's the cycle of what happens. Pay attention. What happens is you have young girls who are raised in single mother homes. The single mothers tell them, don't depend on a man. But the single mothers also tell them, be the sexiest thing you can be. Go wear them booty shorts and go to the beach with your ass hanging out and throw it out there in the glass. So you've got those two things, those two tendencies going up against each other. That's what you have happening. So what happens next? Okay, slow down. Okay, ma'am, slow down now. Let's not, the host is talking. Pay attention.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What happens is that these young girls here, that's the environment they're raised in, which is make sure you can take care of yourself. Got it. You're strong and independent. Got it. And at the same time, be a sex pot. Okay, got it. So this is how you end up with a chick who has a poppin' OnlyFans and at the same time is trying to get her bachelor's in psychology. All right, now she becomes grown. She's out of the house. She's got an apartment of her own. She wants male attention, but at the same time, she's also trying to rationalize this, but don't be dependent on him. Well, guess what that actually sets you up for? It sets you up for Pooky on your couch, because what you've just said is have a man who, quote, makes you happy, but there is no productivity requirement because you shouldn't be trying to depend on his productivity. Therefore, you're now looking for something else. So now you end up with this guy on your couch, hanging out. He's a fun boy toy, but he's not trying to produce anything. So that's what your mom actually set you up for without realizing that those were the instruction set that she was giving you, was an instruction set that prepares the couch for Pooky. Well, eventually you're going to get tired of that, and you're going to get worn out of it, and eventually you're going to boot him out, or you two are going to have a falling out, or whatever the case may be. And now you're trying to learn on the job the things that matter in a man. But there's a poison pill in here. The poison pill is that you're learning it piecemeal, and you're learning it through resentment. So every man you meet, you're going to be trying to torment him to make up for the things that Pooky didn't do. Now you're going to get a guy who, of the 4 things you need, he's got 1 of them. Well, now you've been whipping his ass. Now he's gone. Now you get another guy, and you try to prioritize 2 of those things because you're learning them as you go along. He needs to be competent. He needs to be driven. He needs to be protective, and he needs to be caring. So you're trying to piecemeal that together over time. And it's taking one bad relationship after another before you actually work out what that is. And even the parts that you've worked out, the measurements are off. The amounts that you're looking for are out of balance. So you're flying from one extreme to another extreme to another extreme, as opposed to having someone who has it in balance. And now here's the ultimate kicker. Even if you did finding a man who has that in balance is difficult. That's hard because women's requirements today are higher than they've been. So having a man who has those things in balance is more difficult than it's ever been.
Well, you're not going to find the perfect person anyway. When did human beings become perfect? Because I haven't seen it in man nor woman.
Well, perfect.
No,
they've certainly been told they've certainly been told they're entitled to it. But here's the other issue. The other issue is, how can you satisfy someone who is not satisfied themselves?
That's true. You're absolutely right.
And have you, as a female, as a woman today, you talk to young females today, and you actually feel there's like the Christine, there's no talking to them because they're not satisfied no matter what you do.
Then they need some counseling, because I'm gonna tell you, I've always been very pleased with myself, not vain or anything like that. Never used my sexuality in that respect. Been sexy, but not use it as a weapon. Okay? You don't use it as a weapon. In fact, they don't even know what the hell sexy is. Having your breasts all hanging out is not really being sexy.
Well, it can be. But the thing is,
It can be, but it's the way you move.
Well,
it's the way you.
Yeah, you're right.
it's
There's
the
nuances
style
to
with
it, but please remember, we live in the hoe era. So everything now is hoe rules. Everything is hoe rules. There's no breaks. There's no limits. The things that used to only be restricted to the lower class or lower quality of females, that's the norm now. So we're living under the hoe rules.
Well, all I know is they're just dumb. I'm sorry, they're just dumb.
Well, it
They're
certainly
just
is.
dumb.
It's certainly unproductive, but the real thing about it is dumb is a good word for it. Painful will be another, because you only have a limited number of years, and if you don't use those correctly, if you don't choose the right people, if you don't put yourself in the right places, if you don't have the right priorities, then yeah, you end up messed up. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Folks, there's a lot of folks out there who bet on the wrong horse. They bet on the wrong horse. All these chicks from the Freaknik era. All these females from the Freaknik era. What? They're coming back here in the 2020s. Trying to figure out, is there an escape plan? Trying to figure out, is there an escape plan? Is there a pension? They used to date millionaires. And now they want to know, hey, is there another term for me? Can I get one more crack at bat? I'm too pretty to be doing all this working. I'm too pretty for that. You know, it kind of reminds you of them dudes you used to know. Back in the day, there's always some dudes who trying to tell you about how they were the man back in the 70s and 80s or 90s. They were the man back then. Well, guess what? It's a bunch of females trying to tell you I was the woman back then. I was it. And she hasn't let that go. Now she's decided, you know what? You gonna give up something. It's just started, people. It's just started. Welcome to the era of the hoe pension. She wants to get her hoe pension. Yeah, Social Security ain't gonna do it for her. She wants that hoe pension. Watch your back, fellas. Watch your backs. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate watch. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we are here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. You are definitely invited to go ahead and join us there. We do it every weekend. Every Saturday, 12 noon Central Time. You are invited to join us. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo. My man Stephen Coachman, Richard Walters, St. Germain, and everybody else here, Mark 2 Square. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate that. I want to thank all of you for tuning in live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.